From Houchin-Smith Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky, a crucial Conference USA East Division clash between the visiting Florida Atlantic Owls, 5-3 with a 3-1 mark in the league, against the host Western Kentucky Hilltoppers, 5-3 with a 4-1 Conference USA record. The winner today will be guaranteed at least a share of first place in the East when their heads hit pillows this evening. With Brandon Dowdy, Nate Gatter on ESPN Plus this afternoon. So glad you could join us. And Brandon, both of these teams not only toward the top of the conference, but two of the hottest teams, not only in the conference, but in the country. Western Kentucky having won 4 of 5, notwithstanding that loss last week against Marshall. And Florida Atlantic comes in even better, having won 5 out of 6.
Exactly. And like you said, the hottest teams in the conference, maybe the hottest teams in the country. These two teams love to run fast, play fast, and open up the field. So I'm excited to see what Coach Helton, Lane Kiffin has in store for us today. It should be a really good game. It's got a lot on the line, like you said early on.
Couple of quarterbacks to watch out for in this one. FAU redshirt sophomore Chris Robinson went down with an injury second quarter last week against Old Dominion, but he is back and starting for the Owls today.
Lane Kiffin, he's excited about his development here early in the season from last season. So I'm excited to see what he does. He does a good job of playing within the offense and making those explosive plays when they present themselves.
Meanwhile, back to late September, we were talking about Western Kentucky having quarterback issues after starter Stephen Duncan went down with season-ending ankle surgery 3 games in, but Ty Story is 4-1 as the Hilltoppers starter.
Yeah, no issues here. Grad transfer, he plays like a grad transfer. He's got command of this offense. He's got every check that the whole offense is available to him at any time. So he plays like a grad transfer. Exciting to see how he controls this offense against a pretty good defense he's got in FAU.
Crucial Conference USA East Division matchup today in Bowling Green. Kickoff is coming up. After this, we'll have it from Houchin-Smith Stadium next. FAU and Western Kentucky. Don't go anywhere. Back at Houchin-Smith Stadium in Bowling Green, moments away from kickoff, and of course, everywhere FAU goes, Lane Kiffin gets the celebrity status around Conference USA at his 3rd season with the Owls. 8-0 conference mark in his first year. Last season, they took a step back and trying to return to the conference title game now in 2019. Meanwhile, Tyson Helton in his first season with Western Kentucky, and Brandon obviously took that lump very first game of the year back in August, a home loss to FCS Central Arkansas. But since then, the Hilltoppers have done everything and more they could have been expected to do this year.
They have. I think that was the best thing that ever happened to this program this year, is being able to set back that time, the first game, and then be able to bounce back. This team has responded very well.
FAU has won 5 out of 6. Western Kentucky has won 4 out of 5. Marshall, the 3rd of the 3 contending teams in Conference USA's East Division, the only school to beat either of these programs during their respective positive runs. FAU, of course, to open the season at 0-2 with losses to Ohio State and Central Florida. FAU won the toss and deferred until the second half, so Western Kentucky will receive the opening kickoff. And as Dayton Wade deep to receive, the kick that will come from Aaron Shariari. And we are underway in Bowling Green. Instead of Wade, it's taken by Jaquez Sloan all the way back at his goal line. And he has stood up around the 15 and pushes the pile out to the 20. Eventually brought down where Western Kentucky will start from its own 20-yard line. An offense that has picked up the pace, especially through the air, as Ty Story has become more and more comfortable. And Brandon, he's always been more comfortable at home, where he has 6 total touchdowns and no interceptions since he's been the starter.
Yeah, this is a good atmosphere to play in. You know, at home you feel comfortable. You got all your signals. You can stay to your cadence. Those are things that people don't understand going out. But, you know, little things to keep the timing on schedule.
Gage Walker, the redshirt junior running back behind Story in the pistol. And it's Walker off the left side with the opening carry out near the 25, call it the 24-yard line. A pickup of 4 for Walker. 156th carry already this season. That leads Conference USA.
Yeah, FAU brings a blitz to start the game. They said we're going to come out hot, and that's what you'll see a lot of at this FAU team. They call it a junk defense, and what coaches mean by that, they mean they just run a lot of different fronts and pressures to try to confuse the quarterback.
First-year defensive coordinator in Glenn Spencer. Spent last season at Charlotte. Before that, 10 years on staff at Oklahoma State. Second down and 6 from the 24. Story to the outside. Lucky Jackson has a first down right at the marker to the 30-yard line, and they'll give it to him. Jackson last week set a Western Kentucky record with 16 catches against Marshall, and he has his first one on only the second play today.
Little slant route there. They just kind of on time. Ty Story is waiting for it to develop. You know, I said they bring pressure the play before. Well, the next play they dropped 8, but that means they only rushed 3, dropped all the other 8 guys out there, and again, defensive coordinator playing a little chess game early in this game.
First down for the Hilltoppers from their own 30. Jackson leads Conference USA receivers in conference play in receiving yards. Out to the flat, Garland LaFrance has to break a tackle in the backfield, and the end is limited to only a gain of a couple.
Interesting, they're a little bubble screen. LaFrance caught the ball out there, trying to get that kid in space, young kid, kind of trying to get him in space and make some players miss in the open field. I think that's the key to this game, is trying to get your playmakers in space so they can make guys miss in open field. You know what that means is just kind of trying to get those playmakers the ball and see what they can do with it.
Second down and 9 after a gain of a yard. Story against a 4-man rush to the outside, Jernigan, and he is upended after a gain of 3. Tackled by James Pierre, the junior from Deerfield Beach, Florida.
Little window dressing there, ran a sail concept there. Good job by Ty Story, just taking what the defense gives him. That's what you're going to see from this redshirt senior grad transfer. He's just going to take what you give you to your death, and he'll take his shots when he has to.
Transfer in from Arkansas, 4-1 as the Hilltoppers starter suffered his first defeat by 3 points last week at Marshall.
Man coverage here.
First third down that Western Kentucky has faced today. On the slant, nearly picked off.
Read that like a book. It looked like Jernigan there kind of telegraphs that a little bit. That route kind of took an outside release. All you young receivers looking out there, you gotta switch up your releases, man. You gotta make sure that you take an outside release, take an inside release on go balls, on slants, on inside, on short stuff and deep stuff. Jernigan there goes outside release. DB predicted it, and incomplete pass.
Chris Tooley's 5th pass he's broken up this season. Does not have an interception yet in 2019, but he was very close to his first. Punt will come from John Haggerty, Australian, averaging better than 45 yards per punt, top 20 in the country. And he gets away a good one toward Dante Coussard, who takes it from his own 19 and is limited to a gain of 5 on the return. Devin Key pushed him out of bounds, and we'll get a chance to check out the Florida Atlantic offense after Western Kentucky was limited to just 1 first down. And the Owls will be led by Chris Robinson, second-year man at FIU. Redshirt sophomore who spent his redshirt season at Oklahoma before transferring to play with Lane Kiffin in Boca Raton. He left last week's 41-3 win over Old Dominion with an apparent left shoulder issue in the second quarter after he was brought down hard from behind on a scramble, but he is good to start today. Yeah,
and you're going to see a lot of different things from this offense from Kiffin. He's going to do a lot of RPOs, trying to isolate one guy. That's what those RPOs do. Read pass option, run pass option, and try to isolate one guy, see what he does in this first 10 script.
Harrison Bryant was the motion man. The handoff goes to James Charles. Redshirt junior is stood up in the backfield by this aggressive Western Kentucky defense. Antoine Kincaid came through to make the stop.
And you said it, aggressive. They're going to be aggressive with this team. FAU wants to have the run, set up the pass. And early in the game, Hilltoppers say, no, we're not going to let that happen. Man coverage here.
Second down and 11. Play fake to Charles over the middle. It's Bryant with a first down and more into Western Kentucky territory.
Miscommunication on defense there. Looks like a little man coverage. FAU tries to go fast, trying to mess up communication. And with this way they run this defense on the Western Kentucky side, they do a lot of communication. So the faster you can go, the more holes in defense there will be.
27 yards to Bryant. Preseason All-Conference USA tight end, this time to the outside, pulled in by John Mitchell, who's immediately brought down by Trey Meadows, but another 5-yard gain keeps Florida Atlantic on schedule.
It keeps them on schedule, yes it does, and it also keeps your quarterback in rhythm. Just made a great seam throw, and now he's throwing a 5-yard RPO.
Charles gets it again. This time has positive yardage, although not much. Gain of maybe a yard. Charles, redshirt junior from North Lauderdale, Florida, in there with Malcolm Davidson, the redshirt freshman, out with injury. It was reported before the game that he did not make the trip to Bowling Green. He is unavailable for the Owls today. He also left last week's second quarter against Old Dominion with injury. Chauncey Mason, another reserve running back we're expected to see a lot more of today, is in on 3rd down and 4 from the Western Kentucky 43-yard line.
The Hilltoppers are bringing some pressure here.
Handoff Mason. D'Angelo Malone wrapped him up after a gain of only a yard. 4th down and 3. And Brandon, you expected to see FAU go for it?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought they were going to go through. I think that call was a 2-down call for Kiffin there. I think he got his little momentum. So quarterback's in rhythm. I would go for it here if I was him.
D'Angelo Malone having a fantastic pass rushing season, but he's also top 10 in Conference USA in tackles. Easily leads the country in tackles per game for defensive linemen. 4th down and 3 for FAU. Motion man is D'Angelo Antoine. Off play action. Bryant juggled it and dropped it. 4th down stop for Western Kentucky. The Hilltoppers are going the other way, and the referees are going to let this go. They're going to call it for the moment an Antoine Kincaid touchdown. Surely there will be a review.
Absolutely. I think Kiffin got a little too cute on that one, to be honest with you. I thought they were going to run the ball right up the middle, use a little jet sweep, get the eyes, but tried to get a little cute with a little play action to the left side for a right-handed quarterback. It's a kind of a tough throw. He kind of throws it just a tick behind his tight end, big tight end, and looks like it's a drop pass here. I don't think that's a fumble, if you ask me.
No doubt on that, and now they're saying the ruling on the field is an incomplete pass, but at least one official ran with Kincaid all the way to the goal line and did signal touchdown.
It must be this raging Hilltopper fan base that you just couldn't hear a whistle in this play or something. I don't know.
Expecting a big crowd today, still filling in.
A little confusion early. I love a little early drama in a game. You know, just give you a little bit of early drama in a game, just trying to keep everybody on their toes.
Rodney Burnett is our referee today.
That's a big stop for the Hilltoppers now, I'll tell you what.
See, this looks pretty cut and dry, about as clear an incomplete pass as you're ever going to see.
You're not kidding. And I think it would have been a clear.
All right, go to break. We'll be back. Western Kentucky football after the turnover on downs when we return to Bowling Green. So without a review, the officials did change their mind and say that was quite obviously an incomplete pass that turned it over for FAU. So no Western Kentucky defensive touchdown, but the Hilltoppers will take over from their own 42-yard line. They picked up just 1 first down of their opening possession. Florida Atlantic held to 1 as well. And the grad transfer Ty Story takes over again. Pitch to Ja'Cour Pearson, and he is bottled up for not much on the edge. Gets out to the 46, a gain of 4.
A little creative jet sweep there from the home position, which what I mean by that is there was no motion there. It was usually when you run a jet sweep, you got a little motion, but Hilltoppers do a good job of putting Pearson in the number 3 position, which is the closest man to the lineman, and he just gets a little jet sweep, kind of a creative play to get somebody in space.
Walker with Story in the backfield on 2nd and 6. Story toward Jackson, got separation to the 20, to the 10, and he will go. Lucky Jackson from 54 yards out. After a Western Kentucky record 16 catches a week ago, he gives the Hilltoppers the early lead today.
Wow. Big strike, big play from the Hilltoppers early in this game, just all go. And they tried to run what we used to call in the NFL, cover 8, 2 to the field, 4 to the boundary, 4 press, 1-on-1, good ball.
Second touchdown this season for Lucky Jackson, the 11th of his Western Kentucky career. The leader in receiving yards in Conference USA during league games, and he adds his 2nd catch today to give him 60 yards already, and the extra point converted by Corey Munson. 7-0 Western Kentucky at a 54-yard connection from Story to his big play threat, Lucky Jackson. The Hilltoppers, after getting the ball back, score on their 2nd play, go up early. Lucky Jackson with that 2nd catch today, 54 yards for a touchdown. Picked up his 48th catch of the year, his 163rd of his Western Kentucky career, which moved him past Jack Doyle, now tight end for the Indianapolis Colts, for a 6th in program history.
Yeah, Lucky's playing with a lot of confidence right now. After a 16 reception game a week before, he's on the same page as Ty Story. I mean, I'd throw him the ball every play if he was playing as confident he was. Looked like on that play it was just go routes on the outside, but Lucky does a good job of being aggressive, getting on top of the The DB kind of looked like he was going to stop for him for a second. Ty throws it out there. DB was off page and got a huge play for the Hilltoppers.
Short kickoff taken by D'Angelo Antoine, the graduate transfer from South Florida, and he's outside to the 26-yard line on the return.
Big possession here for FAU. They were in good rhythm, had a good drive going, and kind of just got stalled out there in the middle there and gave the momentum to the Hilltoppers. I'm assuming they want to capture that as fast as they possibly can. I would have anticipated a lot of tempo here, just because I know it causes Hilltoppers a lot of confusion by the way they run their defense.
On that first possession, the big play was a 27-yard connection from Robinson to his senior tight end Harrison Bryant, who leads the team in catches and yards. He's up over 600 yards now for the season in the first quarter of their 9th game. Not many tight ends who can match up with that kind of number.
Wow.
Off play action on first down against a 4-man rush, and it's wide of Bryant's outstretched hands. The two tight ends, Bryant and his backup, John Rain, who has 5 touchdowns, have combined to catch 65 passes this year, more than any other tight end duo in FBS.
Wow. And it shows. Those guys are athletic. They're a new age of college football, just having athletic tight ends that can create matchups for defense and problems for defense.
Off play action again. Bryant again to the right flat across the 30, and he's triple teamed to the ground after a gain of 7 to set up third down and much more manageable.
Another RPO. I mean, that's like the 4th RPO I've seen in 2 series for FAU. They had a run play called. Quarterback can hand it off. It kind of lopsides the stats a little bit with these RPOs these guys are running nowadays.
Chauncey Mason is in as the running back on 3rd and 3.
Man coverage.
Against a blitz, Robinson pressured off his back foot, and Bryant has it knocked away by Antoine Kincaid.
Hey, I'll tell you what, great defense there by the Hilltoppers, but they busted a coverage. They did not cover the slot guy all in the inside. He was wide open. Nobody marked him. Like I said, I'll tell you what, if you run a little bit of tempo, it causes some confusion. So something to think about. Lane Kiffin's going to put in the back of his mind. Maybe the quarterback can see that the tempo is going to give some Hilltoppers a little bit of trouble here in this game.
Kincaid celebrated a birthday yesterday, and the junior from Valdosta, Georgia, already has a tackle for loss and a pass breakup on the first 2 series, and that's coming off a career-high 15 tackles last week at Marshall.
I don't know if it's a good thing if your safety's got 15 tackles. That's for dang sure.
Matt Hayball, the Australian, punts it away for FAU.
We got an Aussie punter duel right now going on?
We do. Adelaide against Sydney.
That is big time right there.
He gets a good roll in the end, down all the way to the 20-yard line. And that is where Western Kentucky will take over after a punt of 47 yards. So the Hilltoppers on their first possession, Brandon, limited to just 1 first down. On their second, it only took 2 plays before Ty Story hit Lucky Jackson for a 54-yard touchdown. How do you feel that represents the development of Ty Story now in his 6th game as Western Kentucky starter?
He's just very comfortable in the offense, and I got a chance to go out to practice earlier this week, and he looked just like that, just comfortable in this offense, making the right decisions on time, getting to his playmaker's hands in the right shoulder pad where the ball is supposed to be for they can run after catch. He's just developing, and it's really fun to see if you're a Hilltopper fan.
1st and 10 from the 20. Outside to Joshua Simon, the freshman tight end. No gain for him. He's brought to the ground by Jordan Helm, redshirt junior defensive back from Jacksonville.
RPO versus RPO right now. It's just, I'm telling you, the new age of college football, all these run pass options. Ty, I just boosted him up by saying he makes all the right decisions. That one is a give read, 100 out of 100. You got a 5-man box. They don't have enough people in there for the run. You throw it out there, double screen where they got 4 over 3. That's why they got nothing out of it.
He has Keyshawn McClendon, one of his backup running backs, in the game with him to start this drive. To throw again on 2nd and 10. Flushed, resets, hits Simon over the middle, but he took a whack. Ball is loose, and multiple flags come in. Incomplete pass, but the hit delivered might very well have been outside the rules.
Oh, no.
And there's an FAU player down.
Simon shot right back up, too. Dicey. Wow.
That was Amon Ross, redshirt sophomore from Jacksonville, who made the hit.
Personal foul, targeting, defense. The play is under review.
They did not give a number, but obviously it was Ross on the replay, and there will be a review to determine whether or not this targeting is going to be upheld. If so, it'll be a 15-yard penalty, and Ross will be disqualified from the remainder of this game. Lane Kiffin's argument, though, might be that Simon was going down to get this football.
It's kind of a bang-bang play. Ooh, I don't know. That looks like a target to me. I'm just glad the young guy got up, man. The way he fell back down there, I was a little nervous for a second. Ty Story late over the middle, man, never good.
Our replay official, you see that flag come in for the back judge. There was one that came from the Western Kentucky sideline as well. Replay official today is Britt Choate. And so they'll be looking at this to determine whether or not Amon Ross is going to be able to continue today.
Man, that's a big hit. I don't miss that part about the game. That's for dang sure. I'll tell you that. At least I didn't have the luxury of having to go over the middle with all those linebackers and safeties that are built in labs. I think nowadays they're not even like built, by people. I think they're built by robot. So I didn't have the luxury of doing this. I think, ooh, that don't look good.
And Ross did get up. In the end, everybody
is okay. Yeah, thank God, man. That could have been way worse.
Ross is over on the FAU bench now, getting some attention from the Owls training staff.
This is a good time here for the Hilltoppers to kind of make some adjustments. Kind of talking to Coach Helton earlier in this week, he knew that they were going to be aggressive on defense, and they've shown that.
The call is confirmed, and Ross is disqualified from the remainder of the game, although it's very possible that he might not have been able to play much more part anyway. They've taken his helmet away over on the sideline already, even before that decision came down, which is never a good sign, but Ross will have to leave the sideline then and head back to the locker room. And a 15-yard penalty moves the ball out to the 35, and that's a big part of this as well, not only losing Ross, but it would have been 3rd down and 10 for Western Kentucky. Instead, the Hilltoppers are set up 1st and 10. Off play action.
Out of space out there.
Outside towards Sloan, and he pushes the pile across the 40 to the 42-yard line. A gain of 7 on 1st down for Jaquez Sloan.
Again, just a little RPO again, just run call. That is a screen in the backside of the run and play a little soft. They're going to take advantage of that, and the Hilltoppers do.
Sloan's yardage has been down this year as compared to last season. Junior from Atlanta, 4 catches, but only 15 yards a week ago against Marshall. And that 3-point defeat for the Hilltoppers that took a career-long 53-yard field goal from Justin Rohrwasser as time expired. In fact, he had a couple of career-long field goals at different points in that game. Western Kentucky also missed a short field goal and an extra point. Those 4 points in the end would have been the difference. Story keeps it after the fake to Walker. He's close to a 1st down, about a yard short. It'll be 3rd and 1 for the 44.
He also, I don't know if you watched that game, but he hit the 53-yarder 3 times in a row. Coach Helton tried to call a timeout 3 times in a row, and he hit it all 3 times. I don't think I've ever seen that. I've watched a lot of ball in my life. Big 3rd down here.
What's the call?
I think you RPO him, or you get Story rolling out, trying to cut the field down in half. It looks like they've got 26 guys in the box. I don't think they have 26 guys on defense. They got everyone in the box right now. You got to be able to do a little play action.
Story keeps it all the way. He has a 1st down, and he's close to midfield. A gain of 4 back-to-back quarterback runs.
And that's probably why I'm in the booth, not in the coaching booth, but in the announcing booth, because you have one extra. When you have one extra guy when a quarterback runs, that's why it's become so sexy in the NFL and in the college game, is because you have one extra guy blocking. When the quarterback hands the ball off, you're already down 1 guy, so he's gonna have to make somebody miss. When the quarterback runs it, essentially you don't have to make anybody miss because you got hat for hat.
1st and 10 from the 48. Story steps up, wants to go deep. Jackson again, and he's got it again. Spins away at the 15, and he's out of bounds down at the 12-yard line. Another connection from Story to Jackson, who's close to 100 yards in the 1st quarter.
Like I said, the kid's playing with a lot of confidence. They ran a double move outside. Well, actually, essentially becomes in the slot. Guy runs a double move. It's just an out cut and an up. And Ty Story does like a really good job of just giving his receivers a chance. Young quarterbacks, you always want to give your wide receivers a chance. They know where the ball is going to go. The defensive back, he usually has his body turned, so he has the advantage as the offensive player. Great play.
40-yard connection, give Jackson exactly 100 yards on 3 catches, one of them for a touchdown in the first quarter. 1st and 10 from the 12. Walker on the handoff, cuts back close to the 5-yard line. A gain of 7 sets up 2nd down and 3.
We talked about in the opener FAU being very explosive and the Hilltoppers kind of playing meticulously, kind of trying to keep their defense on the sideline, well rested throughout the games. And we've actually seen the opposite in this game. That's why football is such a great sport, because now we're seeing the opposite. They're running explosive play after explosive play, and the Hilltoppers, and to be honest with you, FAU is the one that's been kind of controlling the clock.
Chance for Western to go up multiple scores early.
Man coverage.
Story keeps it again behind Walker. He's close to a 1st down. Looks like they'll mark it right there at the 2-yard line. And it is a 1st down, 1st and goal.
Another quarterback run there.
Story has run for 3 scores this season. Also completed more than 70% of his passes. Only thrown 2 interceptions, none at home. Hilltoppers are knocking on the door, much to the chagrin of Glenn Spencer, first-year defensive coordinator for the Owls. Keyshawn McClendon is the running back. Story keeps it. Story scores.
Great push.
4th rushing touchdown for Ty Story in 6 starts. And before the end of the first quarter, Western Kentucky, a narrow favorite, has opened up a 2-touchdown lead.
Yeah, just a quarterback counter there. Get really good push from the offensive line. That's what you, as a coordinator, that's what you want to see, is push in those goal line situations, short yardage and goal line situations. You want to see push in your offensive line, and they got that push they needed. Ty Story, another touchdown.
Corey Munson on for the extra point. He has missed only 1 this season. It was last week against Marshall. And he is 2 for 2 today. So Story hit Lucky Jackson from 54 yards out for the first score. This time he decided to just do it himself. Only a couple of yards to go. He kept it behind McClendon and pulled in to double Western Kentucky's first quarter advantage. Western Kentucky has run the ball 6 times in the opening 11.5 minutes. Ty Story accounted for 4 of those runs, including a 2-yarder to take it in and double the Hilltoppers' advantage. Brandon, he's an athlete, not afraid of a little bit of contact. His freshman year of high school, he won a state championship as a linebacker.
Look at him, man. He's a tough kid. I think you got the wrong analyst if you want to talk about quarterback runs, because this wasn't a part of my game when I played. But this guy, Ty Story, is a competitor. He's tough. He does all the intangible things. He's a leader. He's just somebody that you like in the locker room, from what I hear from all the coaching staff. So I'm excited for the kid having a grad transfer, going through so much adversity, and early in this game, he's just kind of really in rhythm in this game, and Helton's done a good job of doing that.
D'Angelo Antoine cut down at the 21-yard line after a return of 16 yards. So now, Brandon, the pressure is on this Florida Atlantic offense, having a little bit of success on the first drive before turning it over on downs in Western territory. Not much going for them on the second drive, and now they're in a 2-score hole, not even 12 minutes in.
Yeah, when you think of Lane Kiffin's offense, you think of being able to score quick and a vertical passing game. And so far in this game, they've kind of been stagnant. They would make good plays and kind of just mess up on a couple more to get them off rhythm and off kilter a little bit.
Robinson against the blitz nearly threw an interception.
Wow.
Instead, it's just incomplete. Antoine in the end pulled it in, but out of bounds. It'll be 2nd and 10.
That's a heck of a catch, a heck of a throw, but great defense. And, you know, again, like now we're off schedule again. 2nd and 10. Try to take a little shot, a little out route, and just off kilter, just kind of 50-50 ball. That, you know, one of those times I think that they have to just be able to be a little bit more creative on offense. I didn't think I would ever say that from the Lane Kiffin offense, but just looks like they're not very creative. Look like they haven't woken up in this game a little bit.
Pressure came from D'Angelo Malone. Robinson threw it away. Western Kentucky defense has looked excellent through the first almost 12 minutes.
Yeah, and if you become one-dimensional against the Western Kentucky defense here by having to throw the ball every down, I mean, these DNs can pin their ears back and just rush as fast as they can. They got one of the best ones in the country to do that. So win for the Hilltoppers here early in this game.
3rd down and 10 for Robinson. Chauncey Mason again in as the 3rd down running back. number 8 in white. 4-man rush. Robinson under pressure. Over the middle. It's incomplete. Broken up for the second time of the drive by Takorian Darden. Honorable mention All-Conference USA a year ago, and the 5th-year senior from Russellville gets Western Kentucky's defense off the field once again.
3 plays in a row they tried to go at Darden, the senior, but of no avail. I think that they confused the young quarterback on this play. They confused the offensive line by disguising. I was up here in the booth thinking it was zone coverage. They snapped the ball and they went to man. And I think the quarterback was just a tad bit late, and he had a little bit of pressure, so he had to kind of put him on his back shoulder, and he's got to get that ball out in front of him. Young quarterbacks, if you can set your feet and throw, you will be more accurate, I guarantee it.
Matt Hayball again on to punt.
Block that.
Low line drive in the end got over the head of Roger Cray, and it rolls all the way inside the 5. FAU can down it at the 2. Wow.
The only thing that would be more entertaining than that if we had an Aussie rugby match with the punters at halftime, because that was sweet.
77-yard punt.
You got to be kidding me here.
Cray came up to return it, and he got too far underneath it. The ball went over his head, and Hayball has a new career-long punt.
Wow.
He had a 70-yarder in his first ever game.
That's a big boo-boo in hidden yardage for the Hilltoppers. You got to field that ball 100 out of 100 times. I think the sun might have gotten his eye or something. Yeah. Now you're backed up, and it might have, and it might be impromptu here, but it might have shifted. He had a little bit of excitement on the sideline here on FAU. It might have shifted momentum just a tad bit.
So the Hilltoppers from the shadow of their own goalposts. Story hands off to Walker. Bulls ahead for a gain of a yard. Stacked up in the interior of that FAU defensive line.
Man coverage. They're going to get man coverage when you're backed up. Coaches think in the mind of a coach here, your -5 is just coming out, we call that as a coach. You're going to get likely more man coverage than zone. Why is that? Because people want to rush the ball. They don't want to drop back and throw it in their own end zone, because a holding call is a safety.
Walker again. Not been a lot for him in the early going today. He's out to the 7. It'll set up 3rd down and 5.
You know what's funny about the dynamics of this game is the run game for the Hilltoppers in the previous 5 or 6 games has set up the pass, where it kind of feels like the passing game in this game is setting up the run. And yeah, I know Walker hasn't had much space here early in this game, but eventually these defensive guys will wear down, and he'll be able to hit his holes, see holes a little bit clearer. So interesting dynamics. I'm telling you, this football game is a pretty cool sport. Man coverage one more time.
Coaches have complimented Walker's improved vision. Converted defensive back against a blitz over the middle. Jackson nearly had it. He pulls it back in. First down, Western Kentucky, a gain of 8, and Jackson is over 100 yards in the first quarter.
Did he just drop a ball and catch a ball in the same exact play? I don't think I've ever seen that before. You want to talk about a kid playing with some confidence? Just a slant route, crushes the DB, drops it, and catches it in the same play. That's pretty impressive.
Counting his school record a week ago, that's 20 catches the last 5 quarters of football for Lucky Jackson, the redshirt senior from Lexington.
Real question is that 20 catches or 21 catches? I think he caught that twice.
First down and 10 for Western Kentucky in the pistol. Story only has 5 seconds to snap it. With 2, he gets it off. Handoff, Keyshawn McClendon hesitated at the line and pushes the pile for a gain of a yard. McClendon, redshirt sophomore from Clarksville, Tennessee, who was discovered by the coaching staff during a 40-yard dash competition held for students prior to the 2017 season. He showed up and ran it so fast, coaching staff said, we got to get this kid in here.
Interesting. I don't think that's the first I've ever heard that story. I don't think I've heard that one before.
He had 25 yards last week as well on a couple of carries against Marshall.
Interesting is usually these Hilltoppers are built on one running back show, and we've seen a lot of running backs in this game. Maybe I think that's the 3rd, 4th carrier we've had already.
Walker back in there, 160 carries this year, lead Conference USA for him. And flags on the snap. Ty Story looks frustrated, but it's a full start.
Number 61, 5-yard penalty, remains 2nd down.
Goes against Jordan Meredith, the redshirt junior right guard from here in Bowling Green.
Ty's got something to say to the white hat there. Wish you could do that as a 5th-year senior.
Tyson Helton, first season coaching at Western Kentucky. Of course, his brother Clay has ties to Lane Kiffin on the opposite sideline. Clay now the head coach at USC. He served under Kiffin on his staff when he was the Trojans head coach. And that will be the end of the first quarter. Western Kentucky will have second down and long from the opposite side of the field when we get back. But an excellent first quarter for Ty Storey and the Hilltoppers. 14-0 for the home side. Trying to go to 5-1 in Conference USA. Dominant first quarter for Western Kentucky. 151 total yards of offense. 11 minutes of possession.
Wow. Against
only 4 for FAU. But the Hilltoppers start with 2nd and 14 from their own 11-yard line after their first penalty of the game just before the end of the first quarter on a false start. Handoff goes to Walker. Awkward mesh point, but Walker pushes the pile to the 17. Gain of 6, and it sets up 3rd down and 8.
I think the most impressive thing about that first quarter was Ty Storey, 9 of 10, 90% of his passes he's completing. That just tells me that the script that Western had to open up these games, we call them opening plays, 10 opening plays, they hit on those. They knew exactly what Lane Kiffin and the FAU Owls were going to do on defense, and they hit on that because of the percentage he's thrown, 9 for 10. I mean, the kid's in rhythm right now, so that's dangerous if you're an FAU fan. Blitz is coming here.
Storey against the blitz. Hit as he throws, complete to Pearson for a first down out to the 30-yard line.
Interesting. Bring a scrape blitz from the outside of there, and the offensive line picked it up. I'm not sure if they were supposed to pick it up. I think they just kind of played ball there and picked it up. But right tackle makes a great job of just getting enough on the DB coming from a safety position. Man coverage on the back end. Pearson has leverage. Early and often, he usually will get leverage or gain leverage, but he does a good job there getting open. Ty makes a good contested throw. He's been spot on here early in this game.
Play action. Storey wanted to go to Jackson again. He's hit and sacked. The ball comes out, but he's ruled down by contact all the way back at the 20-yard line. The sack from Achilles Leroy, junior from Albany, Georgia. He now has 5.5 for the year to lead the team.
Yeah, he got sacked on a Max Pro. That's not good. The guy that sacked him is called a hugger. And if you're thinking, what the heck is a hugger? A real friendly guy? No, he's not hugging the quarterback. He is responsible for the running back. So if the running back in man coverage blocks, that frees up a guy on the defensive side to be able to hug rush, which means he's going to come if the running back's blocking and that's his man. Why not just add on in protection? He gets him on the sack there. Big play.
2nd and 20. Pearson again, but this time dropped immediately by Miko Dodson, the redshirt junior from Daytona Beach, after a gain of 5. It'll be 3rd down and 15 for Ty Storey and the Hilltoppers, as though 3rd down and 8 wasn't challenge enough.
You're not kidding. Double it up. Again, FAU's done a good job of bringing pressure, and then the next snap they drop 8. They did that again there, caused some softness here in the zone coverage, and something to get a beat on if you're Brian Ellis. Another drop 8 coming here your way on 3rd and 15. If I'm a quarterback, 3rd and 15, we got a 14-point lead. It's 3rd and forever. Defense is looking at drop 8 here. Check the ball down. Do not make a bad play worse. A running the ball is not a bad option.
Storey keeps it all the way. That's his 5th carry already, this time for a loss of a yard. Brought down by Leighton McCarthy and Rashad Smith, a couple of linebackers, and it forces a Western Kentucky punt. The Hilltoppers 2nd.
Good. That was a good defensive series by FAU. Got a sack, got him off schedule, made it 3rd and really long, and caught him off script. I mean, you don't have much as a play caller for 3rd and 15, so a punt is always good. Young quarterbacks, if you're listening, a wise man always told me that every drive needs to end with a kick. A kick meaning if that's an extra point, a field goal, a punt. You just can't turn the ball over as a quarterback. Great job by Tyson Helton, not putting that even into jeopardy there. On that 3rd down, really extremely long, up 14 points.
Coussart made the first man miss, and then was dropped at the 29-yard line, a 50-yard punt, and a 4-yard return. Maybe they gave him a 5-yard return. FAU will have it from its own 30-yard line. The Owls need a big offensive possession. After giving up a 14 spot in the first quarter, they'll try to get something going offensively. See what Lane Kiffin can drop when we get back. Florida Atlantic has won 7 out of 10 all-time meetings against Western Kentucky, including the only 2 games these two schools have played since Lane Kiffin took over as the Owls head coach. But Brandon, something's going to have to go differently for the offense.
Absolutely. They're going to have to get their quarterback back in rhythm like he was in the first drive. They got to establish a run game. I don't care what you're down. Got to establish a run game.
And Robinson dropped all the way back at the 15-yard line by Jawan Jones and D'Angelo Malone.
Like I said, if you become one-dimensional against this Hilltopper defense, man, you're gonna be in trouble. You got to be able to establish this run to make sure that, you know, you have to keep the defense honest. They can't just, you know, pin their ears back and rush the passer.
4.5 sacks now this year for Jones. That gives him 9.5 for his career. Freshman All-American last season.
They drop 8 again.
Climbing up the FBS era career sacks leaders for the Hilltoppers in just his first 2 seasons in Bowling Green.
It is.
Robinson on 2nd down and forever. Has room to scramble. And out of bounds in the end for a minimal gain, if anything.
Drop 8. They took a book out of Lane Kiffin's defensive coordinator's playbook there. They brought pressure on them one play before. Next play they drop 8 just to kind of keep the confusion. The chess game here is pretty cool to watch from up in the booth, that's for sure.
3rd down and 22.
Yikes.
For a Florida Atlantic offense that needed something other than a dozen yards in reverse on this drive.
Not kidding.
Robinson to Antoine, and Malone is there again.
This kid makes plays in the backfield, makes plays 5 yards up the field. This kid's a player.
A gain of only 6, and another punt coming for Florida Atlantic.
That's a common theme here. They just haven't woken up in this game a little bit. They had got one shot up the middle on a seam ball to a tight end, and other than that, they've been pretty stagnant here. Defense has done a good job for the Hilltoppers.
So Matt Hayball, after a 77-yard punt on his last boot of the first quarter, is back out. Florida Atlantic now negative 11 rushing yards. And that's after the Owls ran for more than 300 against Western last season.
Jeez.
Another big left-footed boot. This time Cray calls for the fair catch all the way and takes it at the 32. Still a strong punt of 48 yards for Hayball after Cray had misjudged the previous line drive that allowed it to go for 77 yards all the way down to the 2-yard line. All right, Brandon, how about this then for Western Kentucky? Obviously a couple of positive drives in the first quarter. The Hilltoppers have a lot more momentum offensively to build off of than FAU does, but still not a good possession last time out.
No, but for the Hilltoppers, this has kind of been the story of the year. They kept these teams in games, you know, when they have a chance to go up 3 scores early in game to kind of get momentum on their side, maybe to, you know, kill the sideline a little bit and have them jump up. They need to take advantage when they're up in games.
Gage Walker has a hole, hit from behind and dropped to the 36-yard line after a gain of 4. FAU did well to close that. Tackled by Rashad Smith.
I think the FAU offense needs to help out the defense here a little. You can kind of see that there's just a little bit more space for Walker here on this play. Got a good little push from the offensive line, but it looks like their defense is kind of getting a little bit tired. Offense has gone 3 and out a couple times in a row here, and so I think you're seeing the effects of this game, of that early in this game.
2nd down and 6 for the Hilltoppers from their own 36.
Man coverage.
Off play action. Story immediately hit. The ball is out, and FAU is going to score. Wow. There goes Chris Tooley. Touchdown Owls.
You need some momentum. And how about the defense creating some offense for you? That's a huge play by FAU. You can see the sideline just all pumped up, chest bumping and high-fiving and everything. So, wow, that's a big play.
Story had a critical fumble in the first quarter against Marshall last week that allowed the Herd to build a 14-0 lead. This time it's Western Kentucky's 14-0 lead, but the Owls just halved it on the sack by Leroy and the scoop and score by Tooley.
See, they got away with picking up their pressure in the last drive. FAU brought a safety down for pressure, and I think the offensive lineman kind of just fell into that. On that one, I mean, Ty Story's hotter than hot gets, and what that means is just they ain't got enough in there. So great play by FAU, great call, and great momentum shift in this game.
Vladimir Rivas knocks through the extra point, and FAU has pulled within 7. Western Kentucky will get it right back, but Florida Atlantic all of a sudden with lots of momentum midway through the second quarter. Western Kentucky has nearly 5 times Florida Atlantic's total yardage. And the Owls have run for negative 11 yards, but Chris Tooley's scoop and score cut the deficit in half for FAU on the road, trying to battle back against a Western Kentucky team very narrowly favored coming into this big matchup in Conference USA's East Division this Saturday afternoon. Nate Gatter, Brandon Dowdy back with you. Aaron Cheriari's kickoff travels nearly to the goal line. And we'll see what Western Kentucky can produce on the return. Absolutely nothing. Sloan leveled at the 15 with a flag down.
A little friendly fire there.
A massive hit by Caleb Bryce.
Wow.
The junior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, just laid out Sloan before the 15.
Oh, his own guy. Friendly fire. Dang. Got tapped.
Unsportsmanlike conduct on the receiving team for an illegal wedge formation, number 62 and 28. Penalties half the distance from the goal from the spot
And
of the foul.
unsportsmanlike
First
conduct
down.
was called on Western Kentucky, so this will be backed up even inside the 10-yard line all the way back to the 7.
I can smell the momentum shifting in this game here. My goodness.
So after the defensive touchdown, FAU's defensive unit now gets a chance with Western Kentucky backed way up. Let's get another look at that scoop and score for Chris Tooley off the sack from Achilles Leroy. And that's been a big shift for the Owls defensively this season. They went from one of the worst teams by turnover margin in the country last year to one of the best this season. Big part of their rejuvenation defensively.
Yeah, Ty Storr didn't even see him. He's hot on that side. They don't have enough blockers over there, and Tooley comes up, makes a play, and that's a big-time momentum shifter in this game. And the next play, you get a 15-yard penalty and a big hit. So it's interesting to see the momentum shift in this game. Hot again.
Gage Walker has been relied upon heavily the last couple of possessions, but he's hit and ridden down in the backfield by Rashad Smith. Florida City senior, preseason second-team Conference USA selection with a tackle for loss to move Western Kentucky back 3 yards.
So when you run the defense that FAU runs, it's all based upon gap schemes. And when you blitz a team as much as they do, everybody's got to stay in their gaps. And what you're seeing right now is everybody staying in their gap, staying in their lane, and doing their job. That's why they're having success on the defensive side of the ball right now.
2nd and 13. Story has only thrown one incompletion. He's now 12 of 13, but that's a short gain for Lucky Jackson on his 5th catch of the day. His 51st of the season, which sets a new career high for the senior, who's also set a new career high in yardage, going over 600 for the season today. He's up to now 112 in this game.
You think these guys are on the same page? I think so. These two, both seniors, just kind of coming together. Seem like they're just taking control of this offense. Ty just knows exactly where Lucky's going to be at all times, and you can see it, the product on Saturday.
Another 3rd and long. Western's been in a lot of these the last couple of possessions. Story steps up against a 4-man rush, completes it to Simon, who takes another big hit.
Nice.
He's ruled down, but he's staying down this time. He was hit by Amon Ross on a targeting call in the 1st quarter, and this time he took a low hit, and the freshman from Dalzell, South Carolina, is slow to rise.
That's a big loss there if they lose him. He's a pretty dynamic guy in the pass game, but he looks like he's getting up, so I think he should be okay.
Western Kentucky is going to be forced to punt again.
Again, like this momentum of this game is definitely shifted into FAU's favor. Another 3-and-out long, 3rd and heck along, and they're trying to just, Hilltoppers, again, like I said, they just don't know how to, when they get up, it seems like they get so antsed up that they're up that they just don't know how to finish. And I'm not talking about finishing the game, I'm talking about just making a 3-possession game. Kudos to FAU in that defensive side. Oh, wow, they came down and got it.
Another good Haggerty punt. Coussart takes it from the 36, and there's not a lot for him there. He goes down at the 41-yard line after a 5-yard return. Good Haggerty punt of 54 yards. He has moved the ball well. Both punters have acquitted themselves nicely this afternoon. And now, Brandon, even though the Owls offense has done very little today, there's much less pressure on them than there was just a few minutes ago.
Absolutely, and you can go back to running the football. I mean, I'm just up here a little shocked by a team that, a coaching staff that echoes the fact that they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball. They go down a couple scores in the first quarter, first half of this game. They haven't run the ball much at all. They got a negative 11 rushing the football. You got to go back to what you know, and I think they got to run the football. I know this Western Kentucky defense is pretty good and stout against the run, but you got to make them prove that to you.
It's Nick Troney, the backup quarterback, who's been in some designed run packages, and he keeps it himself for a gain of maybe a yard. Troney, redshirt sophomore, transfer from Indiana in his second year with the program. Has carried the ball now 29 times this season. Limited usage as a passer. 10 of his 14 attempts came last week when he appeared for almost half the game in relief of Robinson.
In there again.
Antoine in motion. This time he gets it. They're going to pitch it back.
Throwing
Troney's
it
out
back
as a receiver. It's complete to Troney, and he has space inside the 30, inside the 20, and he's driven out of bounds at the 16-yard line.
That is the perfect time to call that play. You know what? He lulled him to sleep, thought it was just a little package for the quarterback run, designed run, comes out with a trick play. Everybody on the Hilltoppers defense was fooled by that one. Great call by Lane Kiffin and Weiss in the booth.
Brandon Robinson to Nick Troney. A couple of deep backups, and it sets FAU up in the Western Kentucky red zone for the first time. Handoff this time goes to Larry McCammon III, in for the first time. True freshman from Hoover, Alabama, who did not play last week. He's had injury issues of his own. 5 different FAU running backs have missed time this year, including B.J. Emmons, the Alabama transfer, who was expected to be the lead back and broke his ankle in the opener against Ohio State. And Malcolm Davidson, the start of the last couple of weeks, who picked up an injury against Old Dominion. McCammon to the outside, foot race with Kincaid, touchdown FAU. McCammon from 11 yards out. The Owls have flipped the script, and they're an extra point from tying the game.
Wow. I talk about trying to get the run game involved. Here you go. Got to run the ball.
Team leading 7th touchdown of the season for McCammon on the ground.
Just a little outside zone with a designed, kind of a really cool play design. I mean, I'm kind of a pass game dork, but in the run game, that was a really cool design. They had a fake bootleg where everybody was running routes on the backside. They gave the ball. Everybody on the Hilltoppers was flowing with the boot, and they had a wide open running lane to the left side.
Rivas tacks on the extra point and evens the score. 14 for Western Kentucky in the first quarter, 14 for Florida Atlantic in the first 10 minutes of the second. What will the 5 minutes before halftime have in store? Stay with us. Still a few dancers in the crowd, but this Western Kentucky fan base was a little bit happier at the end of the first quarter when it was 14-0 Hilltoppers. Florida Atlantic has answered with 14 straight points in quick succession in the second quarter. A scoop and score defensive touchdown for Chris Tooley, and Larry McCammon III on only his second carry since coming in, went in from 11 yards, and the Owls will kick away in a tie game. Aaron Cheriari, redshirt freshman from Clearwater, Florida, who took over the kickoff duties 3 weeks ago against Middle Tennessee. Toward Jaquez Sloan, who took a huge hit on his last return. He cuts in front of Dayton Wade to take it and is upended at the 22-yard line. Another big hit, this time by reserve running back Chauncey Mason. Wow. You talked about it, Brandon. It feels like the momentum has completely shifted, and this run from McCammon sealed it to tie the game.
It is, and if you're on the Hilltopper side right now, you got to calm your nerves, calm the momentum just by playing one play at a time. How can we make this play the best play we can? And that's what they need to do, one play at a time here, not worry about anything else, but doing your job for one play.
Tyson Helton's Hilltoppers have seen their share of adversity this season, including that 7-point loss at home to open the year to FCS Central Arkansas. They had won 4 games in a row before a defeat by 3 on the road in Huntington against Marshall last week. First play is a handoff to Gage Walker, bounces outside where he's ridden down. The hit came low initially from Jordan Helm, and then he was finished by Rashad Smith for no gain.
Great pursuit on defense, cover 4 there. Safeties are very aggressive in 4, especially with double tights, don't have much speed at number 2. What that means is that you have a tight end guy, not a receiver body in the inside, so they can be a little bit more aggressive in cover 4.
Helm's brother Grant also played at Florida Atlantic. He's had more playing time this season, the redshirt junior from Jacksonville. Career high 4 tackles last week at Old Dominion. 2nd and 10. Story to throw. He has only 1 incompletion. He's been under more pressure of late, though, and he's dropped at the line of scrimmage by William Davis.
Well, like Ty Story had a little hoppy feet back there. He's got to trust his arm, trust his throws, and make sure that he sees where he's throwing the ball. He looked at one guy there and just kind of said, "Take off. I'm going to take off myself," knowing that they weren't bringing any pressure, only bringing 4. So Ty Story, it's a good chess match. Like I said, FAU defensive staff is doing a really good job here, confusing the the senior quarterback.
The last 4 series, Western Kentucky has been in 3rd down and 8 or longer every time. Against a 4-man rush, it's complete for nearly first down yardage to Fortenberry. The tight end is maybe a yard short. Redshirt junior from Alabama. Only 1 catch in his last 5 games and none for his last 3, but a big 3rd down reception here.
Yeah, 3rd and 1. It looks like they're not going to give it to him. He's going to be 1 yard short here. A little inside route. Good job by Ty Story taking what the defense gives you. Zone coverage. But again, credit to FAU, doing a good job keeping everything in front of them, not missing tackles. It's kind of what they struggled with last week, is missing a lot of tackles. So did a good job of not missing any tackles. And here you are, 4th and 1, got a punt again.
Tyson Helton, it looked like, thought about going for it. Western Kentucky has not had a lot of success on 4th down this season. And so instead, John Haggerty, his very capable Australian punter, out to get it away. This one's a low line drive toward Coussart. Takes it inside the 20, tripped up momentarily, and then dropped by Devin Kane on the sideline at the 22-yard line. Another short return for Coussart, but he has managed to at least field every punt and avoid the mishaps Western Kentucky has had of that department. And now, Brandon, all of a sudden, it feels just moments ago it was 14-0 Western Kentucky, but instead this Florida Atlantic offense is going to take the field with a lot of belief and a chance to take the lead.
Well, even if you look at just the numbers in itself, you would think, man, FAU's got to be losing this game by 2 possessions or more, but they really are doing a good job of just staying on schedule. They did a good job of running the ball in the last drive. I think they need to continue that, hit them on a trick play. I think they've made some really good adjustments here in the 2nd quarter. Let's see. I'd like to see what they do. They did a little formation to the boundary. It might be a little bit of a wrinkle as well.
Larry McCammon III still in there. He did not appear in the 1st quarter, but took a couple of carries, including the touchdown of the last drive. Throw outside to John Mitchell. The redshirt junior from Tallahassee pulls it in for a gain of 4.
Looks like that was going to be a run play, a little RPO, and that's what I think. As a coordinator, and I got stuck with this, you want to throw the ball as much as you want as a quarterback, and sometimes you think like, oh, I got to make this play. Sometimes you just got to can't.
Behind, but he is right about at the sticks. It is going to be a first down on a gain of 6.
Doing a good job running the football. They got to make sure they keep up the running the football. I like the tempo FAU is playing with. I like the adjustments they've made. I like the tempo they're playing with. And I like the fact that they're able to get these guys, these running backs, in space. I like spreading the ball out and running the football. Just my personal preference.
Antoine in motion, off play action. Robinson wants to go deep. Toward Tavares Harrison inside the 40 before he's dropped by Kincaid.
Got away with a little contact there on the double move. They ran a little double move. They hit him on that Lane Kiffin, man, I'm telling you what, his mind thinks 3 plays in advance. They hit him on that stop route 2 plays before, go for a double move, stop and go. Gets a little bit of contact at the top of the route on the double move. Good job by a physical receiver making a play.
1st and 10 from the 37. Bryant, who's been quiet since the early possessions, but the tight end has it close to the 30. Call it a gain of 6 to the 31-yard line after the 31-yarder from Robinson to Harrison.
I'll tell you what, if you like offensive football and don't like Lane Kiffin, you're crazy. I mean, this guy is so calculated at his taking shots.
Robinson off play action. Bryant's covered in the flat. Robinson's going to run with it instead and has a first down out of bounds at the 26-yard line.
These boot plays that you see, I know there's a lot of the sexy thing to do in college football is to make sure that, you like to see what the defense is doing. Sometimes there is plays where you could just go fast and call whatever you want and let the defense adjust to you. I agree. I think Lane Kiffin right now is making the defense adjust to him rather than the offense adjusting to the defense and what they're trying to do. I like the tempo and I like the adjustments he's made.
1st and 10 from the 26-yard line. Under a minute 40 to go. Handoff Chauncey Mason has a crease, and Devin Key spins him down inside the 20 of the 19-yard line after a gain of 7.
I'm telling you that they're really opening this thing up. The momentum. They need to get a little juice on that side. They maybe get a little pre-workout going on the sideline for the Hilltoppers because they're lacking a little bit of energy right now, and it seems like FAU is taking advantage of it.
It's now 5 different players who have carried the ball for Florida Atlantic today. Lots of running back injury issues have affected the Owls. They've also had Robinson and his backup Nick Troney run the ball in this game. 2nd and 3. Mason up the gut inside the 10, and Key drops him at the 9.
They got the defense guessing right now, and they're guessing wrong, which is not good if you're a Hilltopper fan. They took off the RPO. He actually had numbers to run the RPO, a little stick right outside, but they took it off for him. They said, no, do not throw that thing. We have numbers inside. We're going to run the dang football.
Final minute, Robinson over the middle, touchdown Harrison. Or did he drop it? One official says touchdown on the near side. The back judge says incomplete.
Wow.
Is it Harrison's second score of the season? No, it's incomplete.
Wow. Another RPO. These guys are just like the kings of RPOs. I've never seen so many RPOs in a game. Great throw, great patient throw in a second window there.
Harrison had it for a moment, but it was Deontay Ruffin, the junior from Kenner, Louisiana, who never gave up.
I'm telling you, I think that's a touchdown.
We're now going to have a review, as announced by Rodney Burnett, our referee. Already had a controversial decision on the very first series, and the referees allowed a play to go on, claiming it was a fumble that in the end was called an incomplete pass rather easily.
The key here, I think, is that they called it an incomplete pass on the field, so they're going to need inconclusive evidence to be able to, you know, overturn this. And I honestly think, from just my vantage point, seeing it a couple times, I think that that was a completed touchdown. Good ball. Man, he jammed that in between two guys.
He does go to tuck it there, and the question would be whether that counts as complete possession, and then it comes out from Ruffin.
I don't know, it looked like he took 3 steps.
Because Ruffin does have his hand in there all the way, but it didn't look like the ball was moving around.
No, it did not. I think that's a touchdown.
But again, as you said, Brandon, if it had been called a touchdown on the field, I think it would be very easy to uphold this. Exactly. It's going to be more difficult to overturn it.
Agreed.
This might be a better angle to see. Ruffin got that right hand in there right away, but Harrison looked like he had it.
maintain possession of the catch. Touchdown.
It is a touchdown. So FAU has rattled off 20 unanswered points and is an extra point away from going up by 7.
Another RPO to success, read well by the quarterback. I think he did a poor job, and listening to Lane Kiffin last week, said he did a poor job of holding on to that ball in the RPOs. He's either got to hand the ball off or throw it. He was not doing either of them, just holding the balls. In this game, he has done a very good job of being decisive when he's going to give it, when he's going to throw it.
Another extra point knocked through by Rivas, and it is 21-14 Florida Atlantic, and maybe best of all for the Owls, they left only 46 seconds for this Western Kentucky offense that looked so potent in the opening quarter, but it's a 21-0 second quarter for the Owls on the road, engineered by a strong defensive turnaround, including the defense scoring the first touchdown for FAU. And now it's Tavares Harrison with his second touchdown of the season. He now has a career high, nearly 24 catches this year.
Harrison got the bling on right now. Bling, bling.
And they call Pico. Gives FAU the lead.
Strong catch by a strong receiver right there. He's got it looks like the speed of FAU is kind of starting to catch up on the Hilltoppers. I don't think they've ever played speed like this before. Those guys are just out there in the numbers like a little track meet. Even from all 11 positions, they look like they're just a tick faster than these Hilltoppers are.
Cheriari out for another kickoff. He's been busy in the second quarter with FAU living in the end zone. Garland LaFrance out for this kickoff return. Jaquez Sloan stays on the sideline. LaFrance wants to go all the way across, and he had absolutely nothing. Back at his own 7-yard line, and Brandon, I would think that is all the encouragement that Tyson Helton needs to go ahead and kneel this out and get into the locker room, only down 7.
You want to talk about a difference in 2 quarters now. I mean, the Hilltoppers, and you're watching this game, you're thinking this might be a rout for the Hilltoppers. Looked like FAU hadn't even woken up, and then it just took a fumble touchdown, and it just ignited this FAU Owl team, and it's just playing off momentum right now and playing very well offensively, defensively, and special teams. They're winning all 3 phases, and that's what's caused this deficit for the Hilltoppers.
Looks like Western Kentucky is not going to take a knee. Now it might be a simple handoff or 2 at most, probably just 1 to Gage Walker. We'll see if Tyson Helton has anything in mind. Walker up the middle, has a seam out toward the 15-yard line. And Tyson Helton's going to call timeout. Wow. So a gain of 7 was enough for him to start thinking maybe we're going to want to try to do something here. Corey Munson, the true freshman kicker for the Hilltoppers, although he has been inconsistent to put it kindly, this season. He does have a big leg. He made a 59-yarder as a high school junior. So that would mean that Western only has to get to the Florida Atlantic 41-yard line. Still a long way to go, especially after such a poor kickoff return. But it seems like Tyson Helton is at least thinking about it.
He is, and I think that a lot of coaches in these 2-minute drills, you know, they like to see what the first play entails. I know there's a couple times where, you know, if you get a bad play on the first play, no matter what happens on special teams, you get a bad you get a negative play or a 4-yard or under play on first down in these 2-minute drills. Kind of a questionable if you're going to take a knee, you're going to be conservative, you're going to be aggressive. You know, I think since they got 7 on that first play, I think he thought, might have a chance to maybe get some points here, especially the way Coach Helton thinks. You got to think that he's an offensive mind, so he wants to stay aggressive. Tell his team that he's going to be aggressive throughout the game.
Now a very different formation with 4 wide receivers, including the tight end Fortenberry. Story toward Jernigan. It nearly popped up in the air for Jose Barnwell, who was lurking. Luckily for Western Kentucky, only incomplete, and now we'll see if Tyson Helton feels as aggressive on 3rd down and 3.
Good curl route there. Great job by Ty Story getting through all his read. He was not, number 1 wasn't there, number 2 wasn't there, number 3 wasn't there. He got all the way back across the field to go to number 4 with the curl route. Quinn Jernigan's got to make that catch with his hands. Young receivers, not his body.
Hilltoppers still all the way back at their own 14-yard line. Florida Atlantic still has 3 timeouts left, so if FAU were to get a stop here, you might see a timeout. Walker is stopped short of the line to gain. But no timeout yet from Lane Kiffin, and there it is. He wanted to make absolutely sure that this ball was short, and we saw on the last punt, the Owls got very close to blocking it. They got close to one early on against Old Dominion last week as well. This is an aggressive unit, and wouldn't be a surprise at all now to see them come after John Haggerty with everything they have.
I don't even think on the punt return they even block anybody. I think they just come after the kick. It looked like 3 punts in a row. They haven't really blocked anybody. They've been all Hilltoppers down there on the return coverage, and so I think he's going to be aggressive and try to get a little bit even more momentum on this side before the half comes up.
It was an excellent start for Tyson Helton's Hilltoppers offense. Of course, he's seen plenty of good offenses on the Hill. He was the offensive coordinator here in 2014 and 2015 when he helped direct some guy named Brandon Dowdy to nearly 10,000 yards and 97 touchdowns in 2 years. Those 97 TD passes over a 2-year span, an NCAA record. And he's trying to do a little bit of the same now with this Western Kentucky offense in his first season. But they've been stymied in the second quarter, and FAU has come to life.
They have.
So Haggerty nearly at his own goal line to punt.
They're coming.
Haggerty gets it away. Another excellent punt. Coussart wants a fair catch back at the 28-yard line. John Haggerty has been a massive boost for Western Kentucky in this game.
He has. Hidden yardage. Hilltoppers are winning even though they're losing the game.
That's a 56-yard punt with no return. Not many 56-yard punts in college football that still yield a fair catch.
Agreed. He's got a cannon.
One of the best punters in the country. Top 20 in FBS in yardage, better than 45 per punt coming into this game, and he's bettered that this afternoon. Although Matt Hayball has as well for FAU. Take advantage of some poor judgment by Roger Cray, the Western Kentucky return man, for a 77-yarder in the first quarter. Only 8 seconds left with which to work. Owls do have a couple of timeouts, so they could potentially run one play, call a timeout, and then try to set up a Hail Mary.
A screen out here.
Handoff goes to James Charles. Made a cut to the 35, close to midfield. He needs to go down, though. The half is going to expire. This would have been Hail Mary range. But a carry of better than 20 yards in the end took too long. And it takes it all the way to the half.
It's like one time where extra effort is not good.
Good run by Charles, but in the end did not yield what Florida Atlantic was looking for. But the Owls are not complaining. 21 unanswered points in the second quarter, and they're up 7 going to the break looking for a big road win that would move them into at least a tie for first place in the East Division. All Western in the first, all FAU in the second. Tale of 2 quarters in Bowling Green this afternoon. Western Kentucky was up 14-0 after the first, but 21 unanswered from Florida Atlantic on the road in the second. And the Owls have opened up a touchdown lead at the half. We will be back with a Lucky Jackson feature. Big Western Kentucky receiver, already over 100 yards in the first half. That's coming up next at the half. 21-14 is the Florida Atlantic lead at the half after 21 unanswered points in the second quarter. Lucky Jackson is Western Kentucky's leading receiver today with 111 yards and a touchdown already. He had 16 catches last week at Marshall to break a Hilltoppers single game record that had stood for half a century. To learn more about the redshirt senior, here's our feature. Enjoy it on Lucky Jackson.
Lucky Jackson. I play wide receiver. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. Coming out of high school, it wasn't a hard decision for me. I was kind of pretty set on Western when they gave me an offer. I was signing with one of my teammates, Devon Quincy. We both kind of made the decision together. I committed a little bit before him, but it kind of made it easier kind of committing and signing together, so we both kind of took this journey together. I got a lot of friends here. I mean, I've made tons of relationships. I've met people through classes, just being in DSU and things like that. I used to spend a lot of time in Preston outside of football, like during the spring semester, so I met a bunch of guys that I feel like I will have some lifetime relationships with and things like that. Yeah, I got good relationships with most of the guys that have been here. I still keep in touch with Taywan Taylor, Nick Norris, people like that, but I'm really close with Quinn. We kind of came in together, same class, so I mean, he's been somebody that's been here with me, kind of went through the same trials and tribulations, so I mean, it's somebody that's always stuck with me through this whole journey. My position coach is Chris Chestnut. He's a great coach, a great mentor. He kind of gets after us, things like that. He coaches us hard. He tells us he's going to every day. Like even when things are going right, he kind of stays level-headed. He still finds things to teach out of the good things of practice and games. The conference championships here, I kind of played a little bit in those. Also going and playing in Alabama, scoring a touchdown there was probably my favorite memory since I've been in college, so that was a big deal. Other than that, I mean, just the conference championships and the bowl games have all been great experiences. Coach Hilton is a player's first coach. Like, he always has our best interests. He always comes to the players and kind of gets our input and things like that. He's not just my way or the highway type of guy. He tries to reason with us and things like that. And that's something that I feel like the players really appreciate, just because our voice is heard and our opinions do matter. So that's something that he's big about.
51 catches now this season for Jackson and over 600 yards. Both are career highs, and of course still 3 more regular season games and potentially a bowl game left for Western Kentucky. But that Hilltoppers offense that looks so good in the first quarter has plenty of work to do in the remaining 30 minutes. Trailing FAU now 21-14. Brandon and I will take you through the halftime stats. Stay with us. Can only say it so many times, but it remains true. The momentum shift at the end of the first quarter of this game was profound. Western Kentucky came out so impressively at home in a massive Conference USA East Division matchup. And Ty Story early on found Lucky Jackson for 54 yards down the sideline to give the Hilltoppers a 7-0 lead. And then it was Story keeping it himself to run it in. At that point, 14-0 in favor of the Hilltoppers, but things changed completely in the second quarter. Starting on this scoop and score for Chris Cooley after the Achilles Leroy sack, which was his second of the first half, and things started going south for Western Kentucky. The visitors picked it up. Larry McCabe III, and only a second carry of the game, dragged Antoine Kincaid into the end zone from 11 yards out. And then the Owls took the lead on this pitch and catch from Robinson to Tavares Harrison. The ball came out at the end, and initially one referee called it a catch at a touchdown, one called it incomplete. It was called incomplete on the field and then overturned upon replay review. So a 21-14 Florida Atlantic lead. And now, as we head to the third quarter, after this halftime break, we'll have to find out if there will be more major adjustments in store, or if FAU is going to be able to maintain the positive momentum established heading into the second quarter. The Owls did, in the end, just pull ahead in total yardage, but the teams are neck and neck. Only 3 combined penalties, 1 against FAU, 2 against Western Kentucky. The Owls scored 21 points in the first half, and they did not pick up a single third down. They were 0 for 4 on third downs. They were 0 for 1 on their only attempt on fourth down. They had the ball for only 10 minutes and 1 second as compared to Western Kentucky's 19:59. And that's a theme coming in as well. The Hilltoppers, a very strong team in time of possession. among the top group of programs in the country, but that hasn't been enough to get Western a whole lot of the scoreboard. Ty Story has completed all but 2 of his 16 passes for 155 yards and a touchdown. 111 of those 155 have gone to Lucky Jackson. Meanwhile, Florida Atlantic picked up the running game a little bit in that second quarter, now 57 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and that's counting the negatives from Chris Robinson having been sacked, a particularly hurtful one by Jawan Jones in that second quarter that backed up FAU by a good distance. Robinson 8 of 14 for 95 yards and a score, and the leading receiver for the Owls is Nick Trotty, the backup quarterback, who took a 41-yard pitch and catch for one of the backup receivers, Brandon Robinson, off a reverse pass back to Trotty, who was in the ball game at QB. Harrison Bryant also has 3 catches for 40 yards, and Tavares Pico Harrison a couple of grabs for 40 yards and a touchdown. So certainly plenty of storylines heading into the second half. Seems like the kind of game that, as Tyson Helton and the Western Kentucky staff say all the time, could come down to the last 5 minutes. They always say that that's what happens in the big games, and that's their goal as a program, is to get to the last 5 minutes with a chance to win the game. And you could tell it's one of those things that resonates because you hear it repeated by the players in interviews almost nonstop, that their goal is to get to the last 5 minutes with a chance to win. Certainly Western still has that opportunity, but Florida Atlantic a dominant second quarter to take a 7-point lead at the break. We'll be back to get you set and have second half kickoff coming up after this. Stay with us. Florida Atlantic with a 7-point lead on the road as we get set for the second half from Houchin-Smith Stadium in Bowling Green. Nate Gatter, Brandon Dowdy back with you on ESPN+. And Brandon, obviously the Owls were able to make some big adjustments going from the first quarter to the second and completely flip the script of this game. Now it's Western Kentucky's turn, and Tyson Helton, Ty Story, his Hilltoppers had a chance to go into the locker room and talk about it a little bit more time than Lane Kiffin had to turn things around. What does Western Kentucky need to do better in the final 30 minutes?
Well, they have to identify these pressures up front. They're getting beat on being hot, and they're sending a lot of different pressures at this Hilltopper team, confusing the center, confusing the quarterback, confusing the coordinator. I think my adjustment is to spread those guys out. They can't, it stops them from being able to, having to identify everything. They spread them out, 5 guys got to do their job, be a little bit better and more efficient in the run game. And second, they need to throw the ball and pass it down the field. I think they've been successful doing that.
And this is exactly why teams have taken to deferring when they win the coin toss, exactly as Florida Atlantic did today, to receive the second half kickoff. So the Owls will start with a football and a chance to make it a 2-score lead. Kick will come from Corey Munson. D'Angelo Antoine is the deep man for FAU to begin the second half. Antoine from the 2. Room to the right side. Breaks a tackle at the 15. Turns the corner to the 25. And he's out across the 30 to the 31-yard line. And that's where FAU will set up. A good return from Antoine of nearly 30 yards. Been quiet in the receiving game. The former USF Bull, graduate transfer to Boca Raton, who has only 1 catch so far today for 6 yards. But good in the return game, and he sets up Florida Atlantic with decent field position. We'll see what Chris Robinson of this Owls offense could do on the first possession of the second half.
I'd like to see him get Robinson in the rhythm, having the run game set up the pass now. They got the advantage now of taking some time off this clock and kind of milking it a little bit. But I don't expect that with Lane Kiffin's aggressive mentality.
Chauncey Mason gets the carry to start the second half, and he's chopped down by Clay Davis, redshirt junior, transfer from Tennessee Tech, who had a career-high 10 tackles last week against Marshall. He had 10 all season before that. Mason has received more and more carries as this game has gone on. FAU has had 5 different ball carriers, including 2 quarterbacks. Robinson and his backup, Nick Trotty, who was the Owls' leading receiver. 41-yard trick play catch in that first half. Second down and 7 from the 34. Robinson against only a 3-man rush. Lots of time. Goes deep toward Antoine. A flag is down and it's incomplete. In the end, it might have been Harrison Bryant, his first team all-conference tight end, who was the intended target. And if the flag is for interference, it's against Clay Davis, who had the good tackle on first down.
You think Lane Kiffin's taking his foot off this pedal? You're crazy. He did it. It was just all go. all go as soon as with a 7-point lead, momentum on your side.
Pass interference. Defense number 30. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
And it is against Davis. A 15-yard penalty moves the ball all the way out to the FAU 49-yard line. Davis, in his first season on the Hill, sat out last year after transferring from Tennessee Tech, where he had 129 tackles in 2 seasons. Redshirt junior from Louisville getting a bigger role the last couple of weeks. 1st and 10, Robinson to throw. Outside, nearly broken up by Trey Meadows, instead just over the head of Tavares Harrison, who had a touchdown catch in the first half for the Owls.
Great read. DB does a good job sitting on that route. 8 yards. 8-yard stop. It doesn't convert against anything. Just 8-yard stop. Timing route out there. Great job, DB, disrupting the timing quarterback receiver.
Junior started his career at NC State. Robinson, double move toward Harrison. Instead has Willie Wright wide open. Another touchdown for Willie Wright. It had been over a year before he scored last week against Old Dominion. He's in for the 2nd straight week. He'll get an unsportsmanlike flag for a throat slash after the touchdown, but he's made it a 2-score Owls lead. Player who had a big first couple of seasons in Boca Raton, took a huge hit in the Shula Bowl against FIU and sustained a concussion last season. He's had lots of physical and mental issues coming back.
Out of the game. The 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
But Lane Kiffin and the coaching staff and the rest of his teammates were so happy for Willie Wright. They had him lead the fight song after the game last week when he finally got into the end zone against Old Dominion. That is his 2nd long touchdown of his career in as many games in Bowling Green. He had a 49-yarder as a freshman at Houchin-Smith Stadium back in 2017. And this time he goes in from 51 yards out. His first catch of the day gives FAU 28 unanswered points and puts the Owls up by 2 touchdowns. Florida Atlantic absolutely running away with it on the road, up by 14 in the 3rd. Western Kentucky went up 14-0 in the first quarter. Lucky Jackson had a 54-yard touchdown. FAU has now scored 28 unanswered, capped off by a 51-yard score to a wide-open Willie Wright.
Yeah, a little busted coverage, but like I said, I don't know if you guys were paying attention, but a stop route on the outside there, play before, DB ran it. He ran the route further, the receiver there. They made a great play on it. Lane Kiffin, being the offensive mind, he was thinking one play in advance that he is, and runs a double move, stop and go. Ran on both sides. DB did a really good job of getting contact on the top side of the field, but the quarterback does a great job of finding his 2nd read.
Garland LaFrance from the 17-yard line is driven backward at the 30 by Trent Wessel.
Hilltoppers need a little momentum here.
Make that Caleb Bryce, who had that big hit that sort of created friendly fire in the first half, and he has another one on kick coverage in the second half. The kickoff came from FAU's 20-yard line after that throat slash you saw on the replay by Willie Wright after he scored that drew an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. But lots of pressure now on this Western Kentucky offense that went for 151 yards in the first quarter, only 28 in the second. Story off play action to the outside, intercepted. A leaping James Pierre has his 2nd interception of the season. And FAU takes it back at the Western Kentucky 38-yard line.
Wow, just an errant throw. It looked like he was a little bit short on his route. Timing route outside on the outcut. Ty Story just got to hold on to that ball just for half a click, see him come out of it, but he didn't, and he just anticipated him coming out at his top of his break. Great job by DB getting pressure, getting hands on the receiver. Just the errant throw by Ty Story, and the defense is back on the field after giving up that big play, man. I'll tell you what, this is a tough time for the Hilltoppers. They got to be careful here.
First interception Ty Story has ever thrown in this stadium. And Pierre with his 2nd pick of the season and of his career. The first one came September 14th at Ball State. And he had a season-high 7 tackles 2 weeks ago against Marshall. So recent success for Pierre, his 2nd interception. And the Florida Atlantic offense is right back on the field. 1st and 10 from the Western 38-yard line. 2 to snap it. Robinson just gets it off. Hand off to Larry McCammon, and he's stacked up right at the line of scrimmage.
A little miscommunication on the sideline, tight end there. Well, that quarterback just called a basic inside zone to try to get everybody on the same page so they'd take 5.
Jalen Madden, redshirt junior from Tuscaloosa, Alabama, made the stop. Had his first career sack last year against FAU, and this time nearly gets a tackle for loss. It's no gain to set up second down at 10.
Defense got to get off the field here. Looks like they're dropping 8.
Top scoring defense in Conference USA this season, Western Kentucky, but gashed since the end of the first quarter. Here's D'Angelo Antoine, only his second catch with a flag down. He has a 13-yard pickup to the 25 and a first down if it stands.
It's like a hold on the outside there on the perimeter. That's the toughest part about this. These perimeter bump screens that these teams run now. You got guys on islands.
Holding, offense number 10. A 10-yard penalty.
Flag goes against John Raines, senior tight end from Miami. Is called for the hold. Only 3 flags in the first half against these two teams. We've had 3 flags in the first 2 minutes of the second half.
Yikes.
But Western Kentucky will take it. It backs the Owls up to the 45-yard line to set up second down and 17. FAU trying to move to 3-0 against Western Kentucky under Lane Kiffin. Go to 4-1 in Conference USA this year. Mitchell, the motion man, play fake to McCammon, who gets it in the flat, breaks the Davis tackle, and he is dropped powerfully by D'Angelo Malone, one of the best defensive ends in the entire country. 16 tackles for loss, tops in FBS, although last week against Marshall was the first time he didn't have one.
You know, it's only a 2-yard play. Yeah, now it's 3rd and long, but great play by Robinson. Just being able to just kind of knows where his check down was. He was hot on the play, knows where his check down is, where his hot read is, throws it out there, avoids a big sack.
Blitz on 3rd and 15. Malone pressures, pass complete to Mitchell, but he's short of a first down to the 34-yard line. It sets up 4th down and a likely go-for-it situation for FAU. 6 yards to go, but this would be a 50-plus yard field goal attempt.
Again, a crazy, unbelievable play by Robinson. Robinson there just making a play with a hot defender breathing down his neck. A little curl route, strong hands, and they're able to be manageable on 4th down here. Zone coverage.
Bryant was the motion man. Robinson toward Mason. He makes the catch, is driven back by Davis. A flag is down. And it looks, even as it's spotted, like he might be half a yard short. He needed the 28-yard line. The sticks are on the far side, and that linesman is just short. But we have to check the penalty marker, which came from behind the play.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. The ball was caught behind the line of scrimmage. Result of the play is a first down.
Ronnie Burnett says first down. The Western Kentucky coaching staff is not going to be happy with that. Maybe Burnett meant first down for the Hilltoppers.
Yeah.
But I thought we were going to need a measurement. Looks like it's going to be a Western Kentucky first down, a turnover on downs, FAU's second of the game, and a timeout on the field with 11:35 to go in the 3rd quarter. Western Kentucky's defense gets a much-needed stand, and the Hilltoppers offense can come back out trying to end FAU's unanswered run at 28 straight points. Florida Atlantic, even with a 28-14 lead, still has not picked up a 3rd down or a 4th down today. 0 for 5 and 0 for 2. Hilltoppers take over on downs for the 2nd time. Gage Walker on first down across the 30 to the 32 for a gain of 3. And let's take another look at that play completion from Robinson to Mason, who was stood up immediately by Clay Davis.
Yeah, great tackle in the open field. Little hot read. The quarterback does a good job of kind of, if he's outflanked, got him outflanked, he throws it on him, an accurate ball, but great tackle by Davis there to save possession for the Hilltoppers.
2nd down and 7 for the grad transfer from Arkansas, Ty Story.
Zone.
Lucky Jackson in motion. He had that big first half, 111 yards. Goes to him here. Has it at the 35, has a blocker to the 40, and he's into Florida Atlantic territory to the 48-yard line.
A little zone coverage, a little spacing route, stop route there by Lucky Jackson. Ty Story does a good job. He's got a man side on one side, zone side on the other side. Lucky Jackson finds a soft spot in the defense. Ty Story puts him on time, run after catch, accurate ball, on time, run after catch.
Another 20 yards for Lucky Jackson, CUSA's leading receiver in conference play. Has 131 today. After he went for 168 on a program record 16 catches last week against Marshall. Walker all kinds of space, wiggles down near the 35-yard line, a pickup of 12. And a Western Kentucky first down on back-to-back plays.
Great play there. Had a little RPO. He could have thrown it, could have ran it, could have done whatever he wanted there. Had a blitz coming from the opposite side. Great vision by Gage Walker to cut that ball back. Supposed to go left, not so fast. Cuts it back right, gets himself a first down.
Story to Jernigan, whose knee might have gone down immediately. The ball comes out, but he was ruled down to the 31-yard line after a gain of 5.
Little hitch route out there. Looks like a little mix-up. Keep Story in rhythm in this game. 5 yards. Hey, we'll take it second and half. Second and 5, half. You got to get half here. You're in 3-down territory. You got 4-down territory here. You got points now. Now it's time as a quarterback. This is called the strike zone. This is where you take your chances, take your shots if you get man coverage. And it looks like that's what they got.
2nd down and 5. Story to throw. Goes deep for Jackson. Tried to get some separation from James Pierre, who thought there were a couple of hands at his back. Still an overthrow and incomplete.
Again, strike zone, 2nd and 5. That's the advantage of picking up 5 on first down and staying on schedule. You're still in a 3rd and manageable spot. Take your shot. Why not? Great play by Ty Story, knowing where his one-on-one matchup was. That's a grad transfer. That's a senior quarterback understanding situational football. And for all you young guys, young coaches, young players that are looking, if you stay ahead of your sticks, now you can take your shots, calculated shots, not just shots to just say, hey, I took my 5 shots in a game, calculated.
3rd down and 5 now. A big play for Western Kentucky in fringe field goal range. Walker for a minimal gain down to the 30, and that play call, Brandon, likely implies that Tyson Helton was thinking he'd go for it on 4th down all the way.
That's what it seemed like. They tried to pull the fast one on the defense. They were thinking pass, went run. He knew he had 2 downs, but so did the defense.
This would be about a 48-yard attempt for Corey Munson, the true freshman kicker. That is his long for the season. But Western Kentucky's offense is going to stay on the field.
To me, 3 doesn't do much here. So I think you need to go for it. Stay aggressive. I mean, they're playing often soft here to the field, man. You have 5 easily in the slot.
4th down and 4 from the 30. Story goes that way. Incomplete, intended for Jernigan. And it's a turnover on downs, right back to the Owls.
Dang. Tried to run. I think that the guys in the booth, Brian Ellis, Tyson Helton, were anticipating man coverage, got zone there, and just kind of caused the timing to be off on that throw.
So Florida Atlantic takes back over. Both teams have struggled on 3rd and 4th downs. Combined 3 of 14 on 3rd down, 0 for 3 on 4th down. And that's a costly sequence for Tyson Helton and his Hilltoppers, because, Brandon, it felt like if they didn't score on that possession, they're getting very close now to crunch time, especially because of how their defense has been gashed since the 1st quarter.
Gashed and tired.
FAU averaging more than 36 points per game in Conference USA play. Malone makes the diving tackle on Mason from behind. That number is 2nd best in the league.
FAU still going with the tempo here. Formation into the boundary, maybe a little trickery.
Robinson off play action, pressured by Malone immediately and throws it away. Malone has been in the backfield a lot more in this 3rd quarter.
See, I don't know if I'm running a bootleg. Unblocked guy is one of the top players in the country in Malone. So I don't know about that call. I think they were anticipating him having speed, whether they had speed to the boundary, him directing himself to the boundary. He lines up to the field oddly. And I think they misread that one a little bit on the offensive side of the ball.
Big 3rd down and 5. James Charles in at running back. Antoine in motion. And it's thrown at his feet. Western Kentucky sniffed it out. Jawan Jones was there in the flat on Antoine. And Florida Atlantic will have to punt.
A big momentum shift. I mean, you can kind of feel the fans getting a little bit more into it on that 3rd and long. I mean, the defense did a really good job of getting off the field, getting the ball back to their quarterback, to their offense, to try to make a play. You know, they had success driving the ball. Just didn't, a few execution mistakes there late in that drive to see of no avail here. So they got no points out of it. See if they can kind of turn the tide here in this game and get Ty Story and the offense back in rhythm.
Matt Hayball in to punt for FAU.
They're coming. Ooh.
Roger Cray signals fair catch all the way, takes it at the 18-yard line. And that's where Western Kentucky will have to set up after a 47-yard punt from Hayball and no return. We'll keep it here. So, Brandon, Again, now where's the mindset for Western Kentucky? On the one hand, offensively, a little bit more confidence after that last drive. There were a lot of positive things that happened for the Hilltoppers. On the other hand, they only have 23 minutes and change now to go in this game, and 14 points feels like an awful big gap right now.
It does, but I don't think you hit the panic button just yet. I don't think you go out there and throw the ball every play because you become one-dimensional, and defense knows that. So I think you stick to your plan here, still be able to keep Ty in rhythm and keep the offensive linemen pushing off the ball. They don't want to put them in past that all the time. I think you just stay on schedule and on rhythm, you'll be all right.
Off play action, Jernigan wide open. He gets a block and breaks a tackle across the 35 and bulls into Zion Gilbert to the 41 with a penalty marker down late. Might this be for a block in the back that freed Jernigan, and he comes up hobbling after a pickup of 23 yards as it stands.
Ty Story got rocked in that play.
It is a block in the back against Lucky Jackson. Jackson had that phenomenal first half, had a 20-yard catch on the Hilltoppers' last possession, but a 10-yard penalty backs that play up a bit, although it's still a positive. It sets up first down and only 1 yard to go.
Just unnecessary penalty there. Not unnecessary. Quinn Jernigan's got some space there, but great play by Ty Story, sticking in the pocket there, getting smoked and completing an accurate ball. I'm not even sure if Ty Story even had a foot on the ground when he threw that ball. I think he was hit both feet in the air getting hit when he threw that ball. That's pretty impressive.
Tyson Helton complimented him on his willingness to take a hit last week. He has a lot of time. Late rusher goes to the flat where the pass is complete for a first down to Stephen Wachowski.
Again, another hit by Ty Story. Getting hit, being tough in the pocket. I tell you what, his linebacker-ness is shown in this game. He's past couple games. You can critique a lot about Ty Story, but you cannot critique his toughness. He has done an amazing job taking these hits, getting up, and moving on. I like to say though, if you're an offensive lineman, young offensive lineman, listening to this, watching this game, and your quarterback's taking hits, you better help him up. You know, you're giving up. If you're giving up the sack, I don't care if you're giving up the sack. I don't care for what you're doing. You better help that quarterback up, man. That's being a good teammate.
First and 10 from the 33. Gage Walker takes the handoff, and he motors ahead on a late burst to the 37 for a gain of 4. But you mentioned it, Ty Story has that great toughness. Won a state championship in high school as a freshman linebacker. He was also All-State in basketball and baseball, and then finished his career on a 29-game winning streak at quarterback. So it's safe to say he has some athleticism.
I'm not kidding. Gets an athlete.
Keyshawn McClendon, athlete in his own right, mentioned in the first half. The running back into the game now was spotted back in 2017 at a student 40-yard dash competition held by the football coaching staff at the time. Now redshirt sophomore who carried the ball in the first half. Story over the middle dangerously, but connects with Xavier, make it Jacour Pearson to the 45, another Western Kentucky first down. So similarly, Brandon, to the last possession, the Hilltoppers are moving the football, but they're going to need points, probably need a touchdown in this drive.
Yeah, they need 7 here. 3 doesn't really do much, but they need to get 7. Ty does a great job in that last play there by protecting Pearson with the throw there, kind of putting in his back shoulder in zone coverage again. As a man scheme, not so fast. FAU runs zone coverage. Ty Story does a good job of being accurate and placing that ball where his guy can make a play on it.
On first down, play action to McClendon. Story has
Cover 4 there. Take your shots in cover 4. Ty Story does a good job. Probably could have put a little bit more juice on there and he scores, but he comes up with a great play. Lucky Jackson high points that ball. That's a great lesson in the young receiver room. High point that ball. Go get that ball. That's your ball, not the DB's ball. If he waits for that ball to come down to him, DB make a play. But great throw, great timing. We used to call that Act 3 home run. That's a home run. Just take it, throw it to Z as far as you possibly can.
Pearson in motion. Story keeps it on the ground. He ran for a score in the first half, but stopped for no gain to set up second down and goal from the 10-yard line after a 45-yard connection to Lucky Jackson to give him 7 catches for 176 yards and a score. After he broke a Western Kentucky record last week against Marshall with 16 receptions, and that record had stood for a half-century. Jay Davis had the record with 15 grabs at Akron all the way back in 1969.
Those guys are on the same page.
Story to throw on 2nd and goal. Over the middle towards Sloan, who was bottled up. He was looking at him all the way, but he was bracketed by Smith and Miko Dotson.
See, young quarterbacks in the red zone, everything speeds up. So if you're not going to be on time in the red zone, like you better tuck the ball and run, because it's going to mess up all your timing, unless you're escaping the pocket. But if you're in the pocket and things get messed up and you are off your timing, off your rhythm, man, you better take that ball, tuck that ball, and run. There's no chance of that play. That was pretty much a throwaway.
Joshua Simon, the freshman tight end, is a red zone target, and he came in.
Man
Number
coverage.
6 in black. He's in line to the left.
He's got man coverage. I think the checker checked him. I think he's going zone. Yes, he did.
Complete inside the 5 and stopped short of the goal line with a flag down. We'll have to check the penalty. That's Sloan down to the 2-yard line as it stands, and Western Kentucky, if the foul is picked up, might be inclined to go for it, but we'll see if this is coming back or if it's going against the Owls and setting up a 1st down and goal.
Looked like an offsides there.
So in that case, Tyson Helton, would he take the penalty and have 3rd and goal from the 5, or decline it and have 4th and goal from the 2? Probably the former.
I would say get you 2 cracks at it from the 5.
We'll hear from our referee, Rodney Burnett.
Offside. Defense number 45 in the neutral zone at the snap. 5-yard penalty, remains 3rd down.
That is Tim Bonner, the redshirt senior. Transferred in from junior college, a little more high profile than most JUCO transfers. Tim Bonner, one of the stars of Netflix series Last Chance U, when he played for Buddy Stevens at East Mississippi after beginning his career at Louisville, and now finishing it with a strong senior season in Boca Raton for the Owls. FAU has more Last Chance U flair as well. Tight ends coach Clint Trickett, former West Virginia quarterback, was the QB coach for East Mississippi when they were featured for a couple of years on Last Chance U.
Interesting. Going big personnel here.
3rd and goal from the 5. Walker in motion. Story with the pocket collapsing. Float to the back of the end zone. Touchdown, Jaquez Sloan. 1st of the season for the junior from Atlanta. Western Kentucky has snapped the run and pulled within 1 possession.
That is a fantastic play by Ty Story. Individual play by Ty Story. Again, Hilltoppers are guessing wrong, and the coaching staff up here and on the field, they're thinking it's going to be man. FAU's doing a good job of disguising man and playing zone, but they're thinking man. He's got a man concept up with a swipe route. Ty Story buys a little time. Great play by Sloan. Great play by Ty Story to extend the play, make a play with his feet. I mean, I'll tell you what, that's a fantastic play by Ty Story and the Western Kentucky Hilltopper offense.
Back and forth ball game. It was 14-0 Western after the 1st. FAU scored 28 unanswered. The Hilltoppers have pulled back within 7. Owls ball next. 28 unanswered for the Owls, no more. Western Kentucky on the 5-yard touchdown pass from Ty Story to Jaquez Sloan is pulled back within a touchdown inside the final 4 minutes of the 3rd quarter. And Catter Brandon Dowdy back with you from Bowling Green on ESPN+, where Corey Munson is set to kick it away toward D'Angelo Antoine. Antoine from the 2. Had a good return on his last opportunity. Likes to angle to this right side. There's a flag down. He breaks the tackle to the 35 with another flag coming in. So 1 came for the far sideline, 1 from the near sideline. 2 different officials, presumably for 2 different fouls, although in most cases on returns, they're both going to be against the return team. We'll check these calls from Rodney Burnett. Our referee might take a moment to sort things out. And then we're going to go back and give you a second look at that Ty Story creativity when the play was breaking down to find Jaquez Sloan, but want to make sure we get this penalty taken care of first.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Illegal block in the back by the receiving team, number 22. That penalty has been declined. During the return, holding by the receiving team, number 58. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, 1st down.
The accepted penalty against Eddie Williams for FAU. So the Owls will be backed up inside their own 15-yard line. Here is that touchdown from Story to Sloan.
Yeah, just a man scheme at the 3-yard line. You're thinking 5 and in, you're going to get a lot of heavy man, but FAU drops 8. Ty Story creates something with his legs, Sloan finds a little soft spot in the back of the end zone. Great play by Ty Story. Not great execution, not great call, but when you have good players, they can make plays for you.
So for the first time since the opening quarter, the pressure turned up a little bit now on the Florida Atlantic offense that got off to such a slow start. And it's a little pitch to Antoine. Stutter steps, but he's brought down in the backfield by, guess who? D'Angelo Malone. That's his 17th tackle for loss this season. He's had at least one in every game except Marshall last week. Nobody in the country has more.
Wow, great individual effort by number 10 there. He's the unblocked guy in a jet sweep, so he's got to make that play.
Quickly toward Malone on a screen, but it was incomplete through his hands behind the line of scrimmage, and Ruffin was right there anyway. So it's quickly 3rd down and 12 for FAU. Not only do those 17 tackles for loss for Malone lead the nation, but just to drive home that point, you know who's in second? Ohio State's Chase Young. That's 15.5, and he got Heisman buzz after last week's domination of Wisconsin. 3rd and 12 for Robinson from his own 10-yard line. A proud Western Kentucky defense that has allowed fewer than 20 points per game in conference play, tagged for 28 the last 2 quarters. 5-man rush. Antoine over the middle, has to break a tackle, and he can't. Slung down by Ruffin at the 21-yard line, just a yard short of the line to gain. FAU nearly got it done, but it'll be 4th down and 1, and even Lane Kiffin probably isn't willing to gamble on this one.
I mean, man coverage, Kiffin does a good job of calling man coverage. They had a little bit of a, Robson didn't let that play to develop a little bit more. He had his tight end wide open down the middle of the field. Man coverage guy slipped and fell. There was no one covering the tight end on the middle. He just got a little impatient, had time. Sometimes you just got to trust what you see and check it down. Still a good play, accurate ball, man coverage. But great tackle in open field by the Hilltoppers.
The offense did linger on the field for a moment. It looked like it might have been considered on the sideline, but Matt Hayball is out to punt for FAU. And he's going to keep it on a fake. He's going to get it and more. The Australian to the 29-yard line where he's planted. He needed 1. He got 8, and FAU has a 1st down.
Yeah, knew that was going to happen there. I got that one. You can't put anything past Lane Kiffin here. He's coming to win, not playing to lose.
And normally you won't see an offense linger on the field like that and then run a fake because you've sort of telegraphed that you're thinking about going for it.
It's all calculated by the Kiff master.
Inside the final 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter, Lane Kiffin trying to improve to 3-0 against Western Kentucky. Handoff goes to McCammon, who had a first-half touchdown, and he's dragged down after a gain of 3 by D'Angelo Malone again, who all of a sudden, after a quiet first half, has been around the ball nonstop in the 3rd quarter. And he said that's how it is when he's on the field. They're going to go quickly, FAU, on 2nd down and 7. McCammon again, and again not much. He ran into Malone after a gain of 1, but Malone said he goes into this kind of dark place where it's just him and the person with the football. That's all he can see.
That's pretty impressive. I can relate. No, I cannot. I just made that totally up.
3rd and 5. 4-man rush. Robinson has time. Goes deep. Triple coverage. Caught by Bryant. The ball comes out at the last moment. Western Kentucky says incomplete. The officials say a catch and a 1st down at the 41-yard line.
Like I said, give your players a chance to make a play. That's a great play by quarterback. Making a play. Robinson just kind of buys some time. Plays breaks down. Just says, you know what, my guy's better than yours. Goes up. Big tight end goes up, gets the ball. Great play.
FAU able to snap it before any review could come in. McCammon plunges ahead for only a yard. But more importantly, the Owls got the playoff. They do have an offensive lineman down. That's Marquise Robinson, the redshirt freshman right tackle from Decatur, Alabama. And now another Owl down. Is that McCammon, who then went down holding his injury stoppages today. The only other time was when Amon Ross was down for FAU in the 1st quarter after he was called for targeting and then ejected following a hit on Josh Simon in the 1st quarter. Tyson Helton calling over referee Rodney Burnett, probably to ask why that 1st down catch wasn't reviewed. It looked from here like Bryant established possession and then had the ball come out at the very end, but Tyson Helton probably feels like it was close enough to at least look at.
Yeah, it looked like he had it I think they made the right call by not looking at it and prolonging this game.
Get a second look at this play. See if we can see what happened to the catch to Bryant in triple coverage, and the ball just ends up in his hands.
That's a great play. Kiffin loved it on the sideline too.
First team All-Conference USA selection a year ago, Harrison Bryant. And even though guys in CUSA maybe don't get the most national buzz, Brandon, it seems like Bryant is the kind of name that might start bouncing around as we get into March and April toward the NFL Combine and Draft.
Yeah, he's kind of just got that it factor that these NFL teams are kind of looking for. Just a ball player just comes out there and just can beat somebody one-on-one. He's got just a factor like if that ball goes up, it's going to be me that comes down with it. So I'm excited about this kid's future, man. It's been pretty cool watching him play today.
Robinson and McCammon, that's Marquise Robinson and Larry McCammon, both limp off under their own power. Chauncey Mason is in at tailback for Florida Atlantic. In the shotgun next to Chris Robinson, former top 10 quarterback recruit in the country out of high school. Texas kid, all his family Texas fans, went to Oklahoma, now has ended up at FAU. Bryant is slammed down by Deontay Ruffin. He packs a little punch for a corner.
He does. He comes up there. He's not scared of the contact, especially that being a big tight end. He comes up there and he'll hit you. I don't know about this read by Robinson. You don't have enough guys out there to block two of them. You got one guy to block two guys. That just doesn't work out. Mathematically, I'm not a genius.
FAU does not have to snap the ball again. The sideline putting up 4 fingers, so it looks like the Owls will indeed let this go to the fourth quarter, where a big 3rd down and 9 will await them from the Western Kentucky 40-yard line. A fake punt earlier on this drive kept possession with Florida Atlantic, trying to go back up by 2 scores. But this Hilltoppers defense still has a chance to make a big stand and get it back to their offense in a 1-score game. Fourth quarter next on ESPN+. Brandon, what's Lane Kiffin going to draw up on this crucial 3rd down and 9 for the Western Kentucky 40-yard line to start the fourth?
I wouldn't put anything past Lane Kiffin. I can't guess what he's going to draw up. He's got so much stuff in that brain from a pro scheme, from a college scheme. He's got 2-man here.
Antoine out of the flat.
No way.
He's hit at the line of scrimmage and driven down. Trey Meadows was there. So too was Malik Staples, Decorian Darden. And now FAU, it looks like, will have to punt even from the plus 40.
Gosh, I did not like that call. Not enough numbers out there. I think Lane was thinking it was going to be zone coverage, drop 8 coverage, try to get somebody's softness out there. That's why I like when defenses play a little bit aggressive on 3rd down, not give up so much space, because you get those guys in the open field, they can make people miss.
Another punt coming from Matt Hayball, who showed his leg in the first half in particular. He averaged 56 yards per punt, including a 77-yard long, but he'll have to place this one. Roger Cray is waiting for it inside the 10. Hayball hesitates on it, and the Australian boots it all the way to the 5, where Cray takes the fair catch. They'll spot him right at the 5-yard line. It's a 35-yard punt, no return. Both teams have had fantastic punting today.
They have. Aussie showdown. It's been the Aussie showdown. Showtime for the Aussies today.
Hayball from West Adelaide and Western Kentucky punter John Haggerty from Sydney. They've both been fantastic. Western Kentucky went out to a 14-0 lead in the first quarter. FAU between the second and third quarters scored 28 unanswered. Ty Story found Jaquez Sloan from 5 yards out on the Hilltoppers' last possession to pull within 7. And Brandon, now they'll have to go 95 yards to tie this game.
Yeah, they're gonna. The goal here is kind of to flip field position, in my opinion. I know they need to have points. I get that. They need to have a good sound drive, get some points out of this one. But if you can flip field position, set yourself up for a...
Story hesitates, throws over the middle, nearly intercepted. Zion Gilbert almost had it. Western Kentucky got a little inadvertent help from the umpire in the middle of the field.
Late down the middle, can't do that.
Gilbert, the junior from Montgomery, Alabama, almost had his second interception of the season. Instead, it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Western Kentucky. Florida Atlantic has 2 takeaways today. Western Kentucky does not have one defensively. That's big for the Owls, who came in 11th best in the country in turnover margin. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky among the 20 worst teams in the country. They're now -7 in turnover margin for the season. Story off play action. Goes to Jernigan. He's close to a first down. The ball came out. It was picked up by Cooley, who scored off a fumble in the first half. But this time Jernigan ruled down after a gain of 9 to set up 3rd down and not even a yard. It's going to be a 1st down. They'll give him 10.
Good route by Quinn Jernigan, being physical at the top of the route. Create some separation. Ty Story puts a ball on him on time and pick up a 1st down.
Now a heavy package. Fortenberry's in, the tight end, along with an extra offensive lineman to the left of Gage Walker, the backfield. Fortenberry is the motion man. Story off play action. Jackson in a soft spot of the zone. He has it close to the 30 before he's driven down by 4 different Owls after a pickup of 15 yards.
You talk about a game being real slow for Lucky Jackson right now and his confidence rolling up. This is actually called a double move for Lucky Jackson. Lucky says, no, there's somebody over top of me. I'm not running this double move. Settles down. Ty Story does a great job of finding him in the zone. 1st down, Hilltoppers.
That's 8 catches for 191 yards and a touchdown for Jackson this week after he went for a program record 16 grabs and 168 yards last week against Marshall. Play action, quick throw to the outside for Sloan, who is spun down by Leroy after a gain of only a yard.
I like the design of that one. Little perimeter screen outside. Offensive linemen get those big hog mollies running. Just gotta get some hands on the inside guys. Leroy does a good job of getting back and retracting the play for a minimal gain.
Career high 10 tackles a couple of weeks ago for Achilles Leroy, the junior from Albany, Georgia. Also had his first career interception, forced a fumble. A little bit of everything from him.
He's having a good game.
2nd down and 8 from the 32. Blitz. Story throws into it. Caught for a 1st down, or was it? No, incomplete. Intended for Sloan, and the Hilltoppers sideline is displeased. That happened in front of him. They wanted a review on an FAU completion they thought was incomplete on the last drive. We'll see if we get a review this time. The ball looked like it hit the ground, but it's allowed to if the player has control, although probably difficult to argue Sloan had control with the ball planted against his helmet and face mask. And now there is going to be a review.
That's pretty different. This will be tough to overturn, in my opinion. I think that there's got to be conclusive evidence. Like we said before, they called it an incomplete pass on the field, so they have to have inconclusive evidence to overturn this thing.
Only 12 minutes and change to go, so it's set up 3rd down and 8 if the call is upheld. See if this angle gives us anything better. It'll be coming into the right side of your screen. Hard to see too well. It looks to me like the point of that football does indeed sort of squash into the turf, and the ball moves a little bit. It's a good effort.
Great effort. Tough contested catch for the guy that's not a huge guy by any means, but just to see him go in there and try to make a tough catch, man, that's pretty impressive for a young guy. I think 27's kind of in the angle of that one.
Yeah, the ball kind of is hitting the ground just as Devon Brown, the senior safety, crosses in front of the camera angle. Here's the call.
Wow.
And it's overturned to a catch for Sloan.
Okay.
So on both of these incompletions, the Harrison touchdown catch late in the 1st half and the Sloan 1st down catch now in the 4th quarter, we felt there might not be enough to be able to overturn the call on the field. In both cases they have, and called them completions. That pushes Ty Story, by the way, to 299 yards. He's completed 25 of his 32 passes today. Did throw an interception, his first at home. Pearson in motion, pitches back to Sloan, has blockers including Ty Story, and he's into FAU territory with another 1st down to the 43-yard line on a gain of 16.
Great call by Brian Ellis. Great call, knowing the situation. Sloan just made a great contested catch. They went into a review, and now they do a little trickery. And big Ty Story, the quarterback, the ex-linebacker, getting a nice block on the edge and the defensive end. Love it.
1st down and 10 to the FAU 43-yard line after Jaquez Sloan gets the 1st down on a catch, then runs for one. Story wants to go down the field.
Double move again.
Outside, and it's caught inside the 15 by Ja'Cour Pearson. He's been quiet today, only his 5th catch. But that pushes Western Kentucky into the red zone.
Little double move, cover 4 beater, man coverage beater, stop, go. Jakar Pearson, nice play, good ball, maybe a little bit tightly underthrown, but I'm a tough critic. So big play nonetheless for the Hilltoppers to get them going again. Now they're in striking distance now.
29-yard pass and catch. Jakar Pearson now has 51 receptions this season. He had only 20 the last 2 years combined.
Wow.
1st and 10 from the 14. Play fake to Walker. Story rolls, breaks a tackle inside the 10, and he slides down at the 9. No, they'll spot him back at the 10 where he started to give himself up. It's only a gain of 4, sets up 2nd and 6.
He sniffed out that bootleg. Great job by Ty Story, knowing, hey, I got nobody but one guy in this route. Everybody else is blocking. I'm going to try to get them as much as I can and get my butt down. That's a great job by Ty Story. That's a senior play right there.
Story's carried the ball now 10 times, although that number, of course, in college football includes sacks, so his yardage is -6, but he did run for a score in the 1st quarter. Story to throw, lots of time, back of the end zone toward Jackson, but that looked like it might have been a throwaway. He was blanketed by James Pierre, who had an interception in the 1st half.
Another great play by a senior quarterback. Knowing that down and distance, you got half on the last play. You got 2nd and 5. It's probably two more down territory, 4 down territory in general, and does a good job not making a bad play worse. Everybody's covered. FAU, sometimes those guys are on scholarship as well. They made a great job of blanketing these receivers, but Ty Story does a good job of making sure that he makes that ball. Either we're going to catch it or nobody's going to catch it. In that case, nobody did. Man coverage again.
3rd down and 6. Off play action. Story, incomplete, intended for Jernigan. He wanted a tug on his left arm, didn't get it. Now decision time for Tyson Helton. Is it a short field goal? Looks like it will be.
Yep. That's the same exact play that Jernigan converted that 1st down on. Exact same play. Bubble screen, 2 slants behind it, trying to get some spacing out there, let Queen Jernigan roll and to the field, try to get him one-on-one and create some space. Great job by DB putting pressure on Quinn Jernigan, especially a physical receiver as he is.
Corey Munson is on for the attempt. He's 11 of 18 this year. He missed from 32 yards in the 1st quarter last week against Marshall. This is from 28. And it is good.
Confident stroke there.
The first field goal of the game. We had 7 touchdowns. Corey Munson puts one through for 3. Western Kentucky has closed it to a 4-point game with a 10-0 run. Game of unanswered points, back and forth. 9:51 to go. Should be a great finish. Ten unanswered points for Western Kentucky, but the Florida Atlantic defense made a stand, held the Hilltoppers at the 10-yard line, and as a result, a Corey Munson field goal was all Western Kentucky could get out of that last drive, and it's still a 4-point Owls lead on the road. Corey Munson to kick it away toward D'Angelo Antoine, who's had some good-looking returns for FAU today. Has a long of 38 this year. And there's our first touchback from either kicker today. It's a good Western Kentucky drive still. Started all the way back at the 5-yard line, so the Hilltoppers had to cover 85 yards in 11 plays. They did it in a little over 4 minutes and ended up with a field goal. And now, Brandon, we've talked about this all game with the runs back and forth. 14 for Western, then Florida Atlantic with 28, then the Hilltoppers again with 10. The pressure has kind of gone back and forth. Even if you don't believe in momentum, the pressure has gone back and forth between these offenses, and now it's back on the Owls.
It has, and it's a pretty crucial possession here late in this game. Got to get a little points.
Charles has a seam. Charles into the open field near midfield. He's stacked up at his own 49. They'll give him the 50. 25 yards on 1st down for James Charles.
Just a downhill run. That's what I thought they got away from a little bit. Just a downhill inside zone run with a cutter backside. Good job of making the first guy miss in the 1st level, 2nd level make a miss. Great blocking. Good downhill run there.
Charles remains in the pistol. Takes another handoff, and this time a shorter gain brought down by Darden after a gain of a long 3.
A 1-back power there. switching it up a little bit, give him a different look, but still downhill. Got to keep this guy running downhill. He's a downhill runner. Let him run downhill. You guys, some of these coordinators like to go sideline to sideline in the run game. I don't really believe in that. I think you need to get to push off your offensive line and get downhill.
For Charles, it's Antoine in the backfield along with Chauncey Mason now on 2nd and 6. Mason gets the carry, big hole, and he carries Kyle Bailey all the way down to the 37-yard line, a gain of 9 and another FAU first down.
Doing a good job in the run game, sticking to it, downhill runs, 3 in a row, inside zone again with a backside cutter just from the backfield, and gets himself a first down.
Mason, the redshirt junior from Boynton Beach, Florida, first year on the field for the Owls, transferred in from Arkansas State.
RPO.
Harrison Bryant makes the catch. He's inside the 30 and nearly broke free down to the 28-yard line on a pickup of 9, eventually brought down by Jones.
This is exactly what the FAU coaching staff wants to do. They want to run the ball, run the ball, run the ball to set up the pass. And they've done that in this drive. This is more of the identity I thought coming into this game for FAU was going to be. And they've done a good job of running downhill on this drive and setting up a little RPOs off of it.
Mason on 2nd and a yard, another big hole up the middle, eventually met by Takorian Darden after a gain of 5, and another Owls first down.
It's a great job. They're getting great push on the offensive line. Big hog mollies up front are just getting to the point a little bit faster than the defensive guys are right now for the Hilltoppers.
Bryant in motion. Mason again. Inside the 15, stumbles inside the 10, and he's dragged down by Clay Davis at the 6. This FAU running game just will not stop.
Yeah, they are running the exact same play. They've run the exact same play 4 plays in a row, and they just have done a good job of, again, same play. Back to back to back, and they're just doing a great job of executing the play that's being called one play at a time.
Kincaid the stop that time at the 3-yard line on Mason. FAU, remember, ran for 315 yards against Western last year, but the Owls had a couple of NFL running backs on the team, and now a Hilltopper is down, led by Devin Motor Singletary, a 3rd-round pick of Buffalo, who went for 148. Kareth White Jr. actually went for more in that game. 7th-round Chicago Bears selection. He led the team with 163. Kincaid slow to get up, now making his way off the field. And we'll head to break. Big 2nd down and goal from the 3 coming up for FAU after this. 7 minutes and change to go. 2nd and goal for Florida Atlantic from the 3-yard line with a 4-point lead and 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. The running option, backup quarterback Nick Trotty is in. He hands off to Chauncey Mason, who is slung back in the backfield. Jalen Madden, a redshirt junior from Tuscaloosa, who had his first career sack last year against FAU. Breaks through for his first tackle for loss this year.
Great pursuit up. They tried to cut, offensive line tried to cut the Hilltoppers defensive line. Good hands to get down and shed those cutting blocks. Great job of the Hilltoppers. Huge 3rd down.
Chris Robinson back in on 3rd and goal from the 6. Play action over the middle. Harrison dropped it. Nearly had his 2nd touchdown of the game, and he could not hang on.
Great call by Kiffin. My goodness. Little fake bang screen outside. Hits the guy that's supposed to be blocking. Wow. Got to make that play, Bubba. Oh, wow. That's a fantastic call.
Right in his hands. He had to completely ditch the coverage. But instead, it'll be a 25-yard field goal attempt from Vladimir Rivas, who's hit 10 of 12 this year, including 9 out of 10 from inside 40 yards. It's blocked. Trey Meadows blocked it. Devin Key recovers it, and he has blockers. Key down the sideline into FAU territory, and he's brought down to the 42-yard line. Blocked by Meadows, recovered by Key. Western Kentucky in Owls territory, down by 4.
Wow, you talk about momentum shift there, buddy. That's just great individual effort. Big play. This place is rocking right now.
Only a 25-yard attempt that would have put FAU back up by 7. Instead, Meadows turns it back, and Western Kentucky on the return from Key has excellent field position at the FAU 43-yard line.
Look for a shot here by Tyson Houghton. If I know anybody, I know Tyson Houghton. He looks for a shot here. Looks like it just took a little while.
Well blocked by Western Kentucky as well to keep hands off and avoid a hold or an illegal block in the back.
Correct.
Fortenberry in motion. Play fake to Walker. Jackson's going deep.
Look for a shot.
At the 10, it's intercepted.
Oh, no.
Pierre's second pick of the game. He has blockers the other way. And he's out of bounds near the 40. After a blocked field goal, FAU takes the momentum right back on James Pierre's second interception of the game, the third of his career.
Called a shot. And so did Kiffin. He called the shot too. Had a double covered, triple covered, number 11, Lucky Jackson, and great individual play. Momentum back on FAU side. This is exciting.
What a play by the junior from Deerfield Beach. He has both interceptions Ty Story has thrown today, the only two Story has thrown at home in his young Western Kentucky career. Last week, the Hilltoppers lost by 3 at Marshall. They lost the turnover battle 3-0. They're now trailing the turnover battle 3-0 today. Handoff goes to James Charles, makes a man miss to the 45, and he's brought down by Roger Cray, the 46, after a gain of 5. But Western has lost a turnover battle in all 3 of its losses this season. And remember, the Owls, among now with a +3 mark today, the 10 best teams in the country in turnover margin. Western Kentucky now -8 for the season among the 20 worst.
Wow. You would think, I thought this is what Kiffin was going to do last possession, just kind of try to kill some clock, kind of go at a slower pace, but now he's starting to do it. He's kind of feeling that, hey man, every possession is counting for a little bit more now, so.
And it's one run up the gut after another for the Owls. First down for Charles on a pickup of 6.
Same play. Just a little bit of elbow, a little bit of different elbow grease, we like to call it, a little window dressing out there, just kind of trying to disguise thing, get eyes in the backfield, just still running inside zone with a cutter on the backside. Left. That's all they're doing is run it left. They haven't run it right once.
Now 150 yards of the ground for FAU. 7 different players have carried the football, including 2 quarterbacks and the punter, Matt Hayball, who picked up a first down. This is the backup quarterback, Nick Trotty, who also had a 41-yard catch in the first half. Play fake, and he keeps it. Wrapped up and dropped by Antoine Kincaid, who had a good first half, and he limits Trotty, the Indiana transfer, to a gain of only 2.
It's the same play they're running, but just with a read on the outside. So the quarterback's just reading the outside defender here. He crashes down, he keeps the ball, tries to get a first down, but great pursuit by the Hilltoppers. The safeties triggering and knowing you run it. They're running.
The final 4.5 minutes now before this next snap. Trotty remains in. And he can throw the football. He's completed 11 of 14 passes for 90 yards this year. Charles is the running back.
Hey, look for a little play action here.
Make it Chauncey Mason, who bounces toward the outside. He's inside the 45 and spotted around the 43. Short gain for Mason, and it sets up 3rd down and 5.
3rd and 5. Got to expect man coverage if you're Lane Kiffin. If not, on the opposite side, Clayton White needs to drop 8, I would say. I think this is a heavy pass down for me if I'm on the defensive side thinking I think Kiffin's going to be aggressive here and try to throw the ball down the field.
Any chance the Owls consider this 4-down territory?
Oh, mama. I don't know. I think you got to punt it. Make the quarterback just is a little bit rattled. They had all that momentum. I think that you got to punt that ball, make them drive 95.
Antoine on the jet sweep. He's hit short of the 40. He spins free. First down inside the 35.
Just individual effort. I mean, that is incredible. Hey, by the way, I call that. It is a pass, but not really a pass, if that makes any sense. He gets passing yards for it.
Just a little shovel to Antoine.
Wait, great individual effort there. You can tell you what, this is the kick returner that has had a lot of success in this game. Get him out in space. He's been known to do that. So great call by Lane Kiffin trying to get these guys out in space.
And now Western Kentucky has to think about using timeouts. Going to be under 3 minutes before this snap. Nick Trotty is back in. Charles with him. He gets it. He's hit by Madden right at the line. And timeout immediately called by Tyson Helton. No gain of the play. And credit to Tyson Helton. Sometimes, especially first-year head coaches, will get caught kind of looking up at the clock and realizing it's timeout time. He was right with the linesman on his far side to make sure he had that timeout instantaneously. But still only 2:51 left for Helton and his Hilltoppers. FAU moving the football, trying to ice a win, up by 4 late. Pressure on Lane Kiffin and his Owls with a 4-point lead, 2:51 to go. Western Kentucky just used its first timeout, 2 remaining before 2nd down and 9 for the Owls from the Western Kentucky 32-yard line. Nick Trotty, the backup quarterback, keeps it. He has a hole inside the 25. He has a first down to the 23, and the pile pushes all the way close to the 20. It'll be a first down at the 22-yard line. And that is going to get very close to doing it for FAU. One more first down will win it for the Owls.
Great call. Like I said, those quarterback runs, you got one extra blocker. So when you have one extra blocker, it's kind of a little bit harder on the defense and not many free runners at the quarterback to get clean shots at him.
So Trotty remains in the game. Final 2.5 minutes. First down and 10 for the Western Kentucky 22-yard line.
It's somewhat like the Wildcat with this guy in there.
Handoff James Charles. He is upended right at the line of scrimmage. Gain of maybe a yard. Clay Davis hit him. Antoine Kincaid was there as well. Both have had good games. And the second timeout, Western Kentucky with 2:16 to go.
Well, inside zone run there. It's like having, I was just saying, it's just like having a
it'll be 3rd down.
That'll be a tough one for Marshall, I think. Playing at home against La Tech, they're pretty good, La Tech is. So if they lose that game, and now they're in the driver's seat in the conference.
And Louisiana Tech is off this week, so chance for the Bulldogs to rest up out of that matchup against the Herd. Both of these teams, both Western and FAU, will be rooting for Louisiana Tech in that matchup. But certainly FAU a little bit harder if this score does hold. Nearly intercepted. Leroy broke up the pass.
Guys all over the place today.
And it sets up now 4th down and 3. And Leroy, the way he was celebrating, I think he might have thought that was 4th down. He was jumping up like everything was completely over and celebrating, and now he's frustrated that he didn't pick it.
Yeah, he was all over the place. I didn't even see him up here. He got an extra guy. It's like they're playing Canadian football when they're dropping 3. They're rushing only 3. You got an extra guy on defense, man. That's tough on a quarterback.
So 4th down for Story, last chance for the Hilltoppers. He steps up, completes to Jackson, who has another catch. Might have cost himself the 1st down. Looks like they're going to give it to him right at the 30. He tried to make a man miss, and in doing so, very nearly cost himself the 1st down. They do give it to him on his 9th catch of the afternoon.
Yeah, Lucky Jackson trying to make a play there. Almost gave him 1st down there.
That's 25 catches now the last 2 weeks for Jackson.
Incredible.
Close to 200 yards today. Story on 1st down, completes to Gage Walker. His 1st catch out of the backfield, keeps his feet, had a chance to get out of bounds, and eventually does close to the 40. But still, this has taken almost half the time Western Kentucky had remaining.
You got to applaud FAU's game plan going into this game. They made adjustments in the 2nd quarter, explosion in the 2nd quarter just by making adjustments defensively, offensively. I'm just very impressed with Lane Kiffin's game plan going into this one.
Story over the middle, a sliding catch by Sloan at the 46. The clock will stop momentarily with 1:07 to go. Jackson with 194 yards, by the way. Lucky Jackson today. And that number takes him to nearly 650 in 6 Conference USA games, tops in the league. Simon leveled again. Achilles Leroy is having himself some fun.
He is. He's a young guy. Got to get out of bounds there, though. Got to preserve clock. Clock is more important than yards right now.
And Tyson Helton uses his final timeout. You could see that moment when he put his right foot in the ground and tried to cut it back up the field. Timeout called by Western. Now, Brandon, let's talk about this, because even though there are very few fans remaining and there's very, very little hope remaining for the Hilltoppers, if they were able to push this ball another, say, 20 yards, would you consider just running up and clocking it, getting your field goal team out there to cut it to a 1-score game, try your onside kick? And if you recover your onside kick, you're almost already in Hail Mary range to at least give yourself some kind of chance, down by 8, to score a touchdown and go for 2 to force overtime.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of that. I think that a lot of guys try to get greedy in the momentum of the game and try to take their points when they can. But I think you got to take your 3 if you get in the field goal range, have confidence in your kicker that he's going to make a play. And then, again, you got to have even more confidence to get the onside kick. And I think that gives you the best chance to win the football game, or in this case, tie it up.
Biggest number, as we evaluate how this game has gone, FAU had negative 11 rushing yards in the 1st quarter, 199 over the 3 quarters since. Much more like last year.
Yep.
Story to throw, deep down the middle, caught by Sloan. There it is to the 28-yard line. Now will Western Kentucky spike it and kick the field goal, which would be 45 or 46 yards from here. Does not look like it. The Hilltoppers are going to have to hurry with only 38 seconds to go.
Timeout.
But fortunately for them, there's an injured Owl. Don't want to see anybody go down, but in this situation, it does help Western Kentucky's clock management. That is Karan Hafiz, the junior linebacker from Jacksonville.
Got to take the points here, I think.
And this gives Tyson Helton and his staff time to think about it. If anybody from, say, the booth, if Brian Ellis, offensive coordinator, wanted to buzz down and say, you know what, how about we think about a field goal here? You see the leaping catch by Sloan, his 6th grab of the day. This gives them ample time to set that up.
I agree. I think you got to kick the field goal here and give yourself a chance on an onside kick and 2-point conversion, because even if you score a touchdown here, you still got to convert too. So just to get that in that situation, I think that you got to take the points. Clock is a little bit more important with 38 seconds left. You got to take the points here if you can, kick a field goal and at least try to get them off on offsides.
Karanafis is the Owl down there in the middle of the field. He had a big start to the season, 19 tackles the first 3 games of the year. Had only 4 and none last week over his last 5 games, but he had 5 tackles already in this game, and he's up and off the field. A guy who echoed this, what I imagine is a familiar sentiment around Boca Raton, which was that the hire of Lane Kiffin was what cemented his desire to go to Florida Atlantic, and I think that's probably a familiar refrain.
Absolutely. Looks like they got the offense on.
It'll be 1st down and 10 from the 28-yard line. The clock winds. Final 35 seconds. Story against a 3-man rush. Over the middle towards Simon. Popped up in the air in the end zone, but too far out of the reach of Miko Dotson, who was looking for his team-leading 5th interception. Instead, it'll be 2nd down and 10.
Now, if you catch that one, you might have to go for a field goal again. I'm on the field goal train right now.
It would be a long kick right now, to be sure. It'd be 45 or 46 yards for Corey Munson, who has been inconsistent,
shaky, yeah.
and his career long is 48.
I agree.
Story again, another 3-man rush through the hands of Pearson, and maybe in the end for the best that he didn't catch that from a Hilltoppers perspective, because he would have been short of the line to gain and brought down immediately by Leroy. Clock would have run probably into the final 10 seconds before Western could snap it again.
Yeah, but if you didn't kick a field goal, you just wasted 13 seconds and 2 consecutive plays there. I think with that completion, if he would have to pick up the 1st down, I think he was going to kick that. Just
might have to be just a shot to the end zone here, and then a field goal if you don't get it on 4th down.
Or right at the sticks.
Story steps up, little bit of pressure. He's nearly slung down, keeps his feet, down the middle, intercepted in the end zone. FAU has iced it on a 3rd interception of Ty Story, and the Owls will win on the road. Zion Gilbert, his 2nd of the season. Ty Story had not been intercepted at home all year. He's picked 3 times today. The Owls defense continues their statement this season. More takeaways through 8 games than they had all of last year. They take the football away 4 times today without turning it over. And they will move into a tie with Marshall for 1st place in the Conference USA's East Division.
Most impressive thing, they got pressure with 3 down linemen. That is just strictly effort. They should have double teams across the board, and they got pressure with 3 down linemen. That is strictly an effort play by the FAU Owls.
Tyson Helton and his Hilltoppers, after 4 straight wins, will have dropped their 2nd in a row to fall to 5-4. And they have a tough test next Saturday down in Fayetteville against Arkansas, the SEC Network. Interesting, no kneel down. Handoff goes to Charles, who stopped, but that is going to do it. The final 10 seconds will run off. So Ty Story, the grad transfer, will be taking on his former team at Arkansas next weekend. Lane Kiffin improves to 3-0 against Western Kentucky. His Owls have bounced back from an 0-2 start to win 6 of their last 7, including 2 in a row. Now 4-1 in Conference USA and 15-6 since he's arrived in Boca Raton. Safe to say, Brandon, that the Lane Kiffin hire has been everything FAU could have wanted.
Yeah, everything and more. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin's done a great job. You've seen his name getting a little fire in the coaching carousel right now, but he's done a great job with these Owls. They got a lot of athletes. They got a lot of players that make plays, speed on the outside, good play by the quarterback, and you know they're going to be well coached. So I think he's in a good spot, and he can kind of control his own destiny from here.
So for my partner Brandon Dowdy and our producer Jessica Gibbs, the rest of our fantastic crew here in Bowling Green, Nate Gatter saying so long from Houchin Smith Stadium, where FAU used 28 unanswered points in the middle of the game to win it 35-24. Thanks for joining us. This has been a presentation of ESPN.